and welcome to the How Long to Beat Podcast, the podcast that is both by and for the community. We've got a good one today, folks, but we're going to first introduce our host because I, Frozen Roy, am doing the intro. Leah.
Hello.
Matt.
Good day.
And this is where I would say Diallo, except he's not here at the start of the episode, but hopefully he's coming in later. So, he's coming, don't worry. We are well hydrated with both carbonated and non-carbonated water. So in addition to our Game of the Year list, we're going to be going through the usual bean, retired, playing segments. Should I just start off with the bean then?
Honestly, yeah, sure, go for it.
Well, my bean list is going to be pretty quick overall. I beat a game called Quick to 10. It's tenuously a game. But, I mean, technically it's a game. You open it up. You click until you reach the number 10. And then the game closes.
Do you actually click 10 times?
You click 10 times and then the game closes.
So it's a mini clicker game.
It's a mini clicker.
What the hell is
the
point?
I can't argue that. I don't know. It was free. I just saw somebody review it and say this game was stupid. And was like, how fast can I click 10 times? So I tried to speed run it.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
It's not good because I mean, it's like haha funny, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, not only that, it's literally just like a white screen and a number in like Comic Sans in the middle.
Jesus. Is this on itch.io?
Oh my god.
Where did you find
No,
this?
it's on Steam!
What?
But it's free. It's free. You can try it. You can play it right now.
No, thanks. I could play this right now in our podcast document. I don't need a Steam application for that.
But how do you know you're going to click exactly 10 times?
I can count. I'm capable.
Oh man. Yeah. Nothing else to say, obviously, so I'm gonna go to the other game that I beat, which is just Pokemon
These
Blue.
tags on Steam are amazing.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, they are. I mean, if I've ever played a psychological horror game, it's Click the Tag.
Oh, that's the classic. Yeah, the classic meme tag.
But so I mentioned this already. I started back up a Pokemon Blue Nuzlocke. I started in like 2021.
Oh yeah.
And I finished it like 2 weeks ago. I did beat it to the end. Only had about 5 casualties. It was kind of in that middle part of the game where I kept trying to train up my last guy, and they just kept dying. Honestly, even more so than... Okay, this could be a bit of a weird thing to say, I guess, but I'm trying to articulate thoughts I kind of had written down before. I feel like playing Pokemon Blue this time made me reevaluate some of the Pokemon game ratings and ways I viewed them. Because, I feel like it's easy with something like Pokemon, where it's been around so long, and there's so many games, and it does end up having kind of a formula, to just be like, well, it's a Pokemon game. I shouldn't put it too high, it's a Pokemon game. But, like, playing Pokemon Blue from the more primitive, early nature, and thinking, how it's evolved, and how much I put into it with things like Pokemon Showdown and Generation 3, how many times I've replayed Leaf Green, I'm like, is that really fair? Because especially early on, you can see a lot of evolution between games, even if it has the same general formula. If you go from Pokemon Blue to Pokemon Gold to Pokemon Emerald, you're going to see massive improvements across the board. That is genuinely a pretty different experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I felt like I was kind of minimizing them in my head as something I really liked, but I can't put them too high because they're not that good, kind of thing.
You're talking about all 3 generations then, or just the first? Saying it's not that good.
Not even just the 3. Like all the like mainline Pokemon games I've kind of played, basically.
Mhm.
because I kind of topped a lot of them out as like an 8 out of 10, but like with how much I played Pokemon, like Pokemon Leaf Green, I'm gonna come to as like a main one. How much I've played that many times, being it and enjoyed it and played it competitively, and like you think about Pokemon, and like this is actually a ridiculously complex RPG if you break it down. Like how many moves are in a normal RPG? Like 20, 30 maybe? Like even in Pokemon Generation 1, there's 165 moves.
Right.
Now, obviously, some of them are just redundant, but that's pretty intricate to make work and fit together. And then you combine with, like, there's so many Pokemon with different stats. I wouldn't say 151, because obviously some are just pre evolutions and it's not as big of a thing. But even if you just cut it down to, like, 80, that's pretty different from having a party member of, like, 8 to 10 characters with different stats. So the balancing act's honestly pretty interesting, especially when you consider it's a game with a lot of a PvP element. And I've always wanted more RPGs that are either co-op or PvP, because I think it's a really cool and pretty much completely unexplored design space outside of something like a Pokemon catching game. And Pokemon. Part of why this came up is I was thinking of how to rate Pokemon Blue. And I was thinking it's like a 7 out of 10 experience. It's good, but not amazing. But then I was like, there's a bunch of other Pokemon games I have at 7 out of 10. And, like, clearly, in my opinion, Pokemon Blue is under that. And I'm like, am I just kind of compressing these down? So, in a weird way, being this game got me really thinking about the philosophy of how I rank Pokemon games, I guess.
Yeah.
But, in terms of the actual game, Pokemon Blue, it's very primitive, but it is pretty fun. The fact it's so primitive makes it a bit interesting because you are so limited by what you are able to do.
Yeah.
You have to really think about how you use your one-use TMs, how you want to level up your Pokemon, especially in a Nuzlocke, because you can lose them effectively. And the thing is, in Pokemon Blue, the actual game is one of the easiest, if not the easiest in the series, despite what people think. Because all the opponents just use level up moves, and they don't really have special, except for like gym leaders and stuff. There's no special tricks or anything. But that means that your edge is using those one-use TMs, otherwise you have very similar Pokemon. So it creates like an interesting, when do I use this, how do I use it kind of mental game. Only so much, obviously, because it still is ultimately an easy, simpler game. But especially in my Nuzlocke, I found myself thinking it a lot. And when I lost some of the powerful TMs, like I lost my Body Slam user when I was trying to train them up, it's like, well, what do I do after this kind of thing? So there was some interest in that regard. And, I enjoyed my time with it a lot. My final team ended up being Blastoise, Alakazam, Machamp, Gengar. I wanted to use the trait evolutions because I haven't really used them in like a Pokemon game much, because I don't usually have the ability to trade with people, but I set up a Pokemon Stadium emulator to trade with my Pokemon Crystal and trade it back and forth. Let's see, it was Blastoise, Alakazam, Gengar, Machamp. What were the other two? God, I hate when my brain freezes when I'm put on the spot like that. Fortunately, I did save it, so I can just look it up.
Porygon.
I didn't get Farfetch'd because
Jinx.
I didn't get Farfetch'd because I was trying to train up the Spearow, and my Spearow died, so I couldn't trade it.
Oh, I love that bird.
I didn't use Jinx because I actually used Jinx on my Leaf Green one last time, so I didn't want to double up.
It does sound like you had a lot of popular heavy hitters on the team, though. So
I did.
Makes sense that you didn't have a tough time, actually.
Jolteon and Dragonair, that was the last two.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely kind of a standard run, but a lot of times I haven't really done a standard run with like a Pokemon Blue team, so.
I've actually thought about Gen 1 as well lately, and I agree that I actually don't think Gen 1 is that hard either compared to other generations. I don't remember having much of a hard time. In my replay, okay, fair enough. That could also just be from experience with this generation. But I have actually recently I've been kind of thinking about looking specifically for ROM hacks for Gen 1 that use the limited mechanics of that early generation in a more challenging way. And I'm sure some Pokemon nerd has created something there that's interesting. Because it is very limited and has a strange strategic a strange strategic vibe to it in how some of the things are also wonky because they still like streamline the code or whatever. And actually, I'm kind of curious if people have really honed in on that or something. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'd even be interested in I'd honestly be interested in like a Pokemon Gen 1 ROM hack that doesn't even really do much of anything except like give the enemies better moves, like have them also use TM moves and stuff. Which is kind of what Pokemon Yellow is, admittedly, because that's basically what they do with Pokemon Yellow. They give the Elite Four and Gym Leaders actual movesets.
I did not know about that, huh?
Yeah, like Giovanni in like Red and Blue has like shitty moves. They're all like level up moves, so like like his Nidoqueen knows Scratch and whatever. But in Yellow, they all have Earthquake. The Nidoking and Nidoqueen have multiple different special moves. It's like an actual challenge. So I guess I would say if you want to try it, try Pokemon Yellow, honestly.
See, the thing is, Pokemon Yellow was the first Pokemon game I ever owned as a child, and I was always kind of like, I know my friends didn't have as many problems playing their Red and Blue as I had with Yellow, so I already kind of thought there was something going on. This confirms all of actually about these changes.
There are some things about Pokemon Red and Blue that are more difficult. But on the whole, Yellow has much more challenging movesets for the major trainers.
Interesting.
So, and honestly, it may even like Gen 2 and Gen 3, I'm just going to do this and then kind of get off because I don't want to take forever. Like, they also have the limited use TMs, but they kind of each one makes things successively a bit more challenging. And I think I had a lot of fun with that kind of system where you do have almost like a resource limitation that you have to think about to go with kind of the challenge, and you can almost set up your own challenges that way. I've always thought instead of the TMs being infinite use, you should just be able to buy them in the post-game. And that way you can do all your PvP tweaking you want, but you still have the the challenge of thinking about it during the normal journey.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, those were the 2 games I beat, so unless other people have anything to say about Pokemon Blue, it's time for someone else to take the lead.
I'm gonna just take it. I'll talk about I got 5 games that I beat. I mean, we have a longer time since last episode where we actually talked about what we played, so it makes sense that we all got a bit more games going on, I guess. And I got 5 here, 2 of which I've talked about before. The first one being Rogue Book. I mentioned this last time, which is a deck building roguelite game by the creator of Magic the Gathering, the oldest trading card game there is, basically. And as a roguelite is structured, you are supposed to do multiple runs until you actually have a successful one where you beat the final boss or whatever the heck. And I finally did get that. I got enough prominent power-ups that I finally was powerful enough, plus of course, strategic knowledge from previous runs, that I was actually finally to get through all 3 stages of a run and beat the 3rd boss. Funnily enough, I thought the game had 4 stages, and I have reached the 3rd boss multiple times. And I thought it would continue after that, but I beat it. I got a credit roll, and I was actually surprised, which I'll take it. I didn't complain. Still, a fantastic deck building roguelite game. It seems to be on sale for $3 a ton very frequently. So I wholeheartedly recommend this one if anybody is into this genre subgenre thing. Very original, clever mechanics. I like the vibe. It's good stuff. I've already talked about it last time, so I'm gonna leave it at that. The other game that I've mentioned previously is Bun House, the overly wholesome bunny gardening game that I played as a co-op thing with my friend. And we did actually spend a surprising amount of time with this. I think we got close to 10 hours of total playtime. I think our first session was like a 5 or 6 hour hangout session because it's just like that kind of game. You just hang out and talk and plant pretty flowers in your bunny
And do yoga.
Right, and sometimes you do yoga. You can even cook up. You can buy a barbecue and cook up some hot carrots and eat them for no reason at all. It has all
I
sorts
was
of
very concerned for a second.
weird shit.
You're gonna take down a cow or something.
No, it's all vegan over there. Funnily enough, though, the carrots are also the currency, so you're basically eating your own money when you do that. It's a strange world, the world of bunnies. But yeah, we actually there are 42 plants, 42 flowers that you unlock through different ways, and our goal was to unlock them all and call it beaten. It seems like the most obvious completion requirement that we could see. I don't think. I mean, it's built as an endless, chill, wholesome gardening game, but that was our personal goal, basically. And we were missing four final flowers for a long time, and kind of like missed how to get it. We kept planting everything. We kept buying every like gadget in the shop and whatever. We tried everything that we could, but somehow those didn't unlock. You must have missed something. And we did actually, to be honest, it became kind of grating after a while because this is we played it in co-op. We had 2 players, but we both shared the same camera. And so doing individual things, trying to get control over the camera without obstructing the other person's view and everything became very, very annoying after the first couple hours. And it was kind of exhausting after a while. So at some point, we genuinely just looked up what the requirements are for those 5 last flowers and fulfilled them and called it a day. And I don't think this game is like 5 out of 5 stars, masterpiece or whatever, not by a long shot. It's a fairly basic and rough around the edges kind of game, but it's quirky, it's cute, it's wholesome, it's easy, it's a chill experience, and we did have quite a lot of fun together on this. So we are gonna move on with those memories in our hearts for the rest of our lives, and that's that. Another game that I beat, I want to say, that was mentioned previously in an episode, but not Leah talked about this. This is Wingspan, which the digital version of a real-life board game, a bird-focused board game. To summarize it again without regurgitating what has been said about it before, it is a board game where you collect different birds in specific areas. They all have different abilities, and there are specific goals to reach to raise your score until the one with the highest score wins after a set amount of turns. It's a board game. It's an award-winning board game. It has a ton of different real-life birds with like fun little nature trivia and whatever, so you can learn a bit about these different species and whatever. It has very pretty art. It seems to be very polished in how it translated this real board game to a digital version. And I think people are generally very like they this is a beloved game on Steam. It seems like people are raving about this. And I think Leah, you said the last time you were a bit overwhelmed by a lengthy tutorial and then all the mechanics of the game. And
Yeah.
I said I was kind of like worried about that happening to me as well. And maybe that expectation actually made it easier for me because I expected something worse and it wasn't actually that. The tutorial, I think you mentioned this the last time, there's a tutorial for the base game and then also for each DLC. I only did the tutorial for the base game, which took me around 30 minutes, and I took it very slowly. And I didn't even look at the DLC tutorials, and I actually don't think you need them either, because I think it is there because some of the DLC cards have unique abilities on those bird cards. But I find those bird abilities usually explain themselves once you understand like the basic rules of the game. So I didn't really feel like I needed them. I did the base tutorial, and then I played a couple rounds against AI enemies, NPC enemies, and they have different ones there as well. And I beat them all, or beat both types at least. That's why I call this game beaten, because otherwise this is just a multiplayer board game that is over, basically. But the original, from what I understand, the original physical board game had a single-player mode where you play against a slated enemy. And in the physical board game, because you don't have that calculates all these moves, this enemy had its own rule set to play against. And here in this digital version, you can play against a regular computer-controlled enemy that plays with the same rule set as you do, like a normal board game against a computer. But you can also play against this Audemars character, which is a one-to-one recreation, from what I understand, of the board game single-player mode.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Diallo.
And we got a surprise coming in from Diallo,
I was trying to sneak in quietly. Apologies for the delay.
So I was talking about Wingspan, the board game, the digital board game, when Diallo stormed in.
When Diallo Kool-Aid manned in.
Yeah. So like I said, there are basically these two single-player types ways to play this digital board game with two differently functioning AI enemies, and I beat both of those at least once on like default difficulty, and that's why I call this board game beaten. That's my requirement here. I do want to say I agree with the majority. This is a very fun game. I don't know if the mechanics are that. What I find interesting about this, different from most board games that I have experience with, Wingspan is kind of a solitary competition. You don't have any major interactions with the other players, which makes it a bit unique, I think. You can see what other player is doing. Leah last time said that you have to like actively click on the enemy to actually see what they are doing. Otherwise, the game doesn't really tell you what is going on over there. That's true, and it makes sense now, having played this as myself, why that is, because it doesn't necessarily matter to know what the other person is doing. Not truly.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you just have to watch out what you're doing, and if you're like fulfilling the goals of each round or whatever, and then you're golden and you just see what's the final result at the end. But like, it's not built on like immediate interaction with the other players, and I find it a bit unique in that way for a competitive board game or whatever you want to call it. Still, like, I love the birds. I love collecting all the different birds with their individual abilities. It's just fun to see them all. I bought the European DLC pack, of course, to hopefully see some more birds that I actually know from my own environment. And it thankfully also, I usually play my video games English language just for, I don't know, some sort of coherence or whatever. But I am German, and it is actually nice to play this game in German with the actual German names of the birds. So I actually have some knowledge in my brain that I can use or whatever. You know what I mean? I like it. I think I'm gonna pick this up every now and then still to play against AI enemies. And I would, Leah, if you ever end up picking this up again, I would actually be down to playing like a real match against each other. I would totally be there for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Another game that I have beaten, this has never been mentioned on a previous episode, is fresh. Is a game called Engare. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. This is an Iranian game. I was reading an article about Iranian video game history recently. I just stumbled over that, and it was pretty interesting. And after that, I went down a rabbit hole of like Iranian video game developers and what's out there that's easy to grab. And there's a bunch on Steam, of course. And Engare is one of the ones that really, captured my eye more than the others or whatever. Because this is a puzzle game with a unique premise that I haven't seen before. I think it's gonna be a bit difficult to describe without a visual aid, but this is basically a puzzle game focusing on shapes and movement. It's a very visual puzzle game. It bases its rules on sort of like a mandala drawing technique, which I don't know if anybody has experience with that, but you usually use like tools that make all of these symmetric lines and shapes and whatever to draw a mandala. And in this game, it bases the puzzles on that, and that it has a bunch of moving objects, and it shows you a certain shape of a line that you are supposed to replicate, but you don't draw the line. You are supposed to place a dot on the moving objects, and while the objects move, they basically trace the shape that you are supposed to have, the goal shape. So you have to analyze the moving objects and find the right spot to put this dot to trace the right shape that it wants you to find, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Again, very hard to describe without a visual aid, but it is a really interesting and unique puzzle concept. Find this game done very well. It has a really good soundtrack, and it's polished in ways of presentation. I found it very interesting. It has a big hefty vibe to it. It's a very, very good experience. I highly recommend this because I'm sure this is not like a game people are talking about or whatever. Engare, look it up on Steam or whatever. If you're into puzzle games, this is a high recommendation. This was dope as heck.
And yeah, I kind of looked it up when you started talking about it just now. It does look pretty interesting. I probably will put it on my wish list.
Hell yeah. The developers also made something, because this is flat 2D shapes. I mean, you're drawing lines basically with moving objects. The developer has also a slightly similar puzzle game with 3D objects that seems to be praised by like mathematicians and whatever for being like a representation of really abstract, weird shape in 3D space and whatever. I haven't played that yet, but that seems like next level puzzling. That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I just went to Steam and looked at the trailer of that other. Looks funky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's some Iranian gaming there. And the final game that I've beaten is called BirdLingo, and I've seen and I see Leah has beaten this as well, so maybe you can take over after this as well or whatever. BirdLingo is a free game on Steam somebody made to learn bird calls, and it is really well. It's not like a super polished thing, but it's also just a free application that somebody created, and it's very functional in that sense. You have different environments with different groups of birds that you go into, and then you have to just, through different levels of difficulty, recognize the right bird to the actual bird call you hear, an MP3 file or whatever, and then you have to say, yep, it's that bird from the list that's given to you or whatever. And it works really well in how they're structured with the rising difficulty and whatnot, giving you hints at first, then throwing the hints away, and then later even putting two birds at the same time and whatever, and you have to distinguish between them. And it's really fun and really actually helpful to learn the bird names. Obviously, this is only available in English. I would have loved if this was German for me, so I could actually learn these German bird names. In that sense, a bit of a bummer for me personally. But as a thing in itself, this is like, I think this is genuinely a great way to do it, and it's actually a really helpful tool if you want to learn your bird calls. Though I think this is a British game, so it's probably mostly being birds from that environment. But I think a lot of these common birds are also either in like in most of the Western world, or at least have like a close family in wherever you are in the Western world. So I think wherever you are, you're probably gonna learn something here from that game. And I loved it has 2 pigeon types in this game. It has the wood pigeon and I believe the rock pigeon, which are the most common pigeons in and around cities. And it has like a description for each bird call at the beginning, and the 2 pigeon coos, the descriptions for them are very cute. The rock pigeon basically goes hoo 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 hoo, and they translate it as "I am a pigeon," and that's how you're supposed to remember this, and that's fucking awesome. And the wood pigeon is even better because the wood pigeon only has 3. It basically goes hoo 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 hoo, and they translate that as "I love you, I love you," and that's how you're supposed to remember the wood pigeon call. And I'm gonna every time from now on I hear these 2 pigeons, I'm gonna be thinking of these two sentences. That's gonna be ingrained in my brain, and I love that so much. So yeah, from me, a big recommendation, this BirdLingo game. At all interested in learning bird calls? Leah, you played this as well. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's cute from a birding 101 perspective, I guess. As an American, I'm also out of the loop here with like all the British ones. And now I'm wondering, because I have one criticism, but I'm thinking maybe the calls are different for these birds in Britain, because one of them that they have on here is the European starling, the common starling. And I've had this bird. I've raised this bird. I found him when he was like 2 weeks old, didn't have any feathers, and I raised him until he was 12 years old. I've heard what they sound like outside and in my house. And I did poorly on figuring out what they sound like in this game. And I was like, I don't understand how I got that bird so wrong when it's like the one that I know so well.
That's interesting.
Like I've seen house sparrows before. I've seen the pigeons before. Some of the gulls I knew. So a lot of the calls, I was like, oh yeah, obviously I know what these are. Yeah, that's obvious, you know? And then I was like, I've never heard of this bird before. And some of them, like, I failed miserably because I was like, I can't tell what this is supposed to be. Like, some of them, there was one, I think it was one of the yellow birds. See, I don't even remember the names at this point. But the one bird, there was like a buzzing sound at the beginning of the sample. And that was the only way that I could remember it. Because I was like, it's the one that has the bee buzzing in the front. And so every time I would hear the bee, I'm like, oh, it's that bird. Like, so like sometimes the samples were like throwing me off because like a lot of them, they had like 2 samples of each bird. Yeah. And like sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I can understand them from that. But then the other sample didn't sound like what the bird sound like, their little like quote or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like that. And they're like, no, obviously it was this bird. I'm like, says who? So I think also if you're into birds, you understand also like there's flock calls, there's like mating calls, there's like the birds have different ways of like communicating with each other. So it's like it's not going to be the one thing that you hear and you're like, oh, that bird is not Pokemon. They're not saying your name, you know, constantly, you know. So I think that was a little hard for me too, because I was like, you say that this is a call, but what kind of call is it? Like I wanted a little, like I understand that it's like basic birding for everybody, but I was like, I wish it was like a little bit more of a niche thing where like it would tell me like the different. I think in Wingspan they also give you like little bird calls in between, like when you pick up the cards and stuff, which I thought was also kind of interesting. Yeah. I don't know if they're connected specifically or if it's just like here's a bird, we'd throw that in with the pack. So So I feel like that also would be interesting. An interesting way of learning the bird calls after a while, just because you hear it so often. One of the good things about these kinds of games is like you can just learn as you're entertaining yourself also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would also like if they, I don't know that this is in their roadmap at all, but it would be nice if they had DLC or something for these games for like different regions, because that would be, it would just be cool for me in general, just to like know like the different parts of America, different parts of Canada, Europe, and stuff like that. Like there'll be birds that I'll never hear in my lifetime because they're from some other continent. And I was like, I would like to know about these birds also. So yeah, that sort of thing. But yeah, for like a quick 1 hour game, it was cute.
Yeah, I would pay good money for a more extensive, polished version for sure. There were birds in there where I recognized the bird call from real life, and I was like, "Oh, that's that dude. That's cool. Okay." And before you go on, I need to actually correct my pigeon misinformation that I just shared with the pigeon calls earlier. The I love you one is actually the Eurasian collared dove, and the I am pigeon one is the wood pigeon. So I actually was talking complete nonsense about the species. Shows you about how much I paid attention, but still a dope game. Anyway, yeah, you do your thing.
In other bird games, I also played Dinner with an Owl, which is a quirky little itch game. I know Diallo also played this.
Yep.
But yeah, a quirky little game about dinner with an owl. It's kind of hard to like say more than that because it's so short that I might spoil things. So it's just, it was a very interesting game. I expected it to be longer than it was. And when I did play it, I was just kind of like taken aback that it was so short. But it's very like Twin Peaks like, and I love it. So, so yeah, there's that. I also played another one that Roy played. The servers are shutting down in 24 hours, but my pull rate's been set to percent. Yeah, so again, another one that's really short and it's hard to really review just because it's so, there's not much game there, but it's also a very interesting thing to think about of like these sorts of gacha games with their math and the way they pull you in and try to get you to do so much, and then they can at any point just yank it away from you and turn the servers off or whatever. Some other itch games that I have beaten recently are Let's Go There and Wander Nowhere, which is another itch title. Yeah, I don't fully understand what it was about, and I also understand it way too hard. You shouldn't really think too much about it, but it's a game that's out there. I also did Baba.
It is a game. We can't deny that.
Yeah. Baba Files Taxes, which is another past Itchmas game. I haven't played Baba Is You yet. So I'm sure I'm missing like context or Easter eggs or something like that in this, but this is a silly little itch game. I hate doing taxes. It's the epitome of like that thing where like you're walking out of store with nothing and you're like, what if I accidentally stole something? Like, I hate doing taxes. I hate like, it's that on like a whole nother level. But this was fun. You basically just have to like forge his signature a bunch of times on his taxes and try to get it like closer to what his signature is. So, so yeah, if taxes were more like this, that would be great. Make that happen.
We need more forgery in Texas.
Gosh, that feels like it would be so cathartic.
And then also I have here Devil Express, which is basically just like quest tasks, the game. This one you are like a delivery worker for some new service, and there's like 4 floors of this residence in this apartment building, and they all have like little things that they need, where there's just like one of the residents has like no body, and her other half lives on some other floor, so you have to find out like how to get them connected. They're all sort of like monsters, so like one is like a slime monster, one is a dragon, stuff like that. So you'll have to like find little things for, like I was just like, at this point I had played like a whole bunch of these little itch games, and I was kind of getting like burned out, and I was like, okay, this I'm just gonna like see what the deal is, and I'm gonna shut it down and play it some other day. And then somewhere after like the 4th or 5th door, I got really invested and like pulled out a notepad and was like, okay, this person needs this person needs that, this person needs something. and like was like, okay, I'm just going to go through this, and then if there's more to the game, I'll do it tomorrow. And turns out, spoiler alert, that's most of the game. So I ended up just completing it into one sitting. So but it was a cute little game. Not much to it, but it checked off my completion for that day after going through a bunch of itch games. So that was fun.
This brought back like buried memories because I did actually play this as well. I didn't remember until you went more into detail. Probably an Itchmas title though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
forgot about
most
this.
of the itch titles that I have on my backlog are just itch titles that I didn't get around to at the time. Itchmas
Makes
titles that
sense,
I didn't
yeah.
get around to at the time. And I believe that is it for me. So Diallo,
yeah.
you're next.
Alrighty. So this time around, I've beaten a little game called First Day at Maze Corp. This is actually a game that a friend of mine created as part of a game jam. And I forget like how we even got onto the subject of this game, but maybe we were talking about blueprints, or maybe we were talking about like House of Leaves or something. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the media that I've consumed in the past year has featured labyrinths very heavily. But anywho, somehow we got on the subject of this game, or maybe like mazes or something, and he recommended this game to me. And so I checked it out and played it and had a lot of fun with it. So to set the scene a little bit, it takes place in this kind of dreary corporate hellscape, as the name suggests. You're working at Maze Corp. It's got a very distinct visual style. Everything is kind of monochromatic and very like flat, almost cell shady. I don't really know exactly how to describe it. It's like very like everything is very stripped of detail and very monochromatic. And also one thing that I found pretty charming is this elevator music that's constantly playing in the background as you go through the game. But it starts off, it's your first day at this new job. You're in the office at 9 a.m. Your first task is to report to your manager by 10:15, and you are given a can of green spray paint. So the catch, obviously, is that the office space is a huge maze, so even finding your boss is difficult. But the basic game loop is that you're assigned a task, and then you have a deadline to complete it. If you don't complete the task by said deadline, you are immediately and unceremoniously fired. As you go through the day, as you progress through the day, you're unlocking more tasks, and they have their respective deadlines. And you're supposed to, if you miss any deadline for any task, then it's kind of game over for you, and the run ends there. If you do get fired, the task progression that you have does not carry over. But what does carry over is any markings that you made on the walls with your green spray paint. So it's all about sort of like charting a good course for yourself to sort of like remember what lies where in the maze and figure out, how you can most efficiently loop through this labyrinth and get all of your tasks done by the end of the day before you get terminated. So I had a lot of fun playing it. I was surprised by just how vast and sprawling the office space is in the game. Like, it's a very, very, very big maze. And for something that came out of a game jam, I'm impressed at like how much they were able to cram into this experience. Yeah, I had a lot of fun just like playing it, leaving notes for myself on the walls, getting tripped up at various parts when I thought I would be like on the right track, and then realized that I've taken a very wrong turn, because there are some really, really deep dead ends that you can like end up finding yourself. One thing that I found really interesting about this experience is that I used to work as an interpreter, and one of the important things you learn as you're doing interpreting is how to create a meaningful note-taking system, because when you're interpreting, you're absorbing a lot of information very quickly, and obviously you don't have time to transcribe everything the other person's saying word for word, so you have to come up with a way to like a shorthand to very quickly be able to like, identify what are the key points. You have to like learning how to structure your notes as an interpreter is like one of the key points, like I guess, of honing your skills in said craft. You have to figure out like a good note-taking system for yourself, figure out how you're going to like represent certain concepts. You want to be able to come up with a system that lets you write down notes that are as efficient for yourself as possible in as short amount of time as possible, so that like you can try to jot down everything you need to on paper quickly enough to not get like lost in the woods. But it has to be quick, and also has to be meaningful enough that you can sort of, when you're referring to it after, when it's time to like reproduce what they're saying, that you can make use of it. And I touched on that sort of same part of my brain when I was playing this game, because you're racing against the clock as you're walking down the hallways. You want to write notes to yourself, but you want to make sure that the notes are not going to lead you astray, like literally. Because if you're sloppy with your note taking, you confuse yourself more than you actually are helping yourself. So figure out a good system of like, okay, I'm going to mark this kind of thing as like with this symbol. I'm going to mark this thing with this symbol. This is going to mean X, Y, Z. But also like you can't sit there and write down like full on sentences for yourself, because you have such a limited time. Anywho, that whole sort of experience kind of brought me back to that, and I thought it was a neat little fun game. It's available on itch. free, possibly other places, but I enjoyed it, and that is what I have beaten this time around.
Well,
Okay.
there you go then.
I do like the concept of a maze with consistent nodes. That is actually, I feel like that should be more existing more often somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. It does seem like a fun concept. I did go to Itch and add it to my maybe I play this in the future list I have.
Yeah,
same.
I would say that means it was a pretty good pitch. Now, what isn't a good pitch is when we go off and retire video games because we don't want to play them anymore. But sometimes we just pause them and we just don't feel like playing them at the moment. So that's the list we're getting to right now. Me, I don't have anything this time. I think I might next time, though. We'll see.
Ooh.
I do have a game that I dropped, and it's not a pause. That's definitely gone. I'm pretty sure. I tried out a little thing called Professor Rubik's Brain Fitness, it was interesting to me because it's a Rubik's, as in the Rubik's Cube, a Rubik's branded video game, which I don't think there are many of that around. At least I'm pretty sure there's the only one that's like you can purchase it on Steam or whatever. So I was interested in it because I wanted to see how they would translate the fun of solving a physical puzzle cube in a digital way. Just solving that thing with a controller just doesn't seem like a good idea. So I'm sure they had to do something more with it to make it worthwhile as a video game. What I didn't expect is that it was just straight up a completely different project altogether. Professor Brain Fitness uses the Rubik's branding, but it is essentially a modern spiritual successor to those Nintendo Brain Age games, where you are supposed to do daily tasks to enhance your mental capability in different categories. So it is a box full of sort of challenging mini games that try to test you in different ways. Apparently, I only played this for an hour or whatever. Apparently, I'm good with words and spatial awareness, and I'm bad in math. And okay, I granted this. That sounds about right for my experience in real life. But this is as a video game, this is not at all what I am interested in. I was hoping there would be at least some sort of way of solving a Rubik's Cube in a video game meta, but that is not a feature at all in this. It's all just Brain Age style video games with the visual styling of a Rubik's Cube here and there. And I am absolutely not interested in that. I remember a long time ago, I played a 3DS Brain Age game, and it was novel for 2 sittings, and then it just got on my nerves. And I'm not even giving this the time, enough time to be the same experience. I'm just gonna see it as what it is and abandon it as something that I don't want in my life. So that's out of the window very quickly. And that's my one retirement.
All I want to say about this is that to me, when I saw the name, it seemed like a off-brand Brain Age kind of name.
Yeah, I mean, it's very obvious. It definitely on its sleeve, yeah.
I used to love the Brain Age games. My mom and I think we played every day. We used to do the Sudokus and stuff like that.
No.
And the grammar one.
Training your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
apparently,
cool and all, but
there was some study done that apparently they actually do work. So
sure.
I need to.
It was a bit
grab some from
controversial,
my
yeah.
mom.
Now instead we can just do daily Wordle.
I don't know if that. Sure, whatever.
Yeah. So I have a few retired games. Most of these are just vaguely paused. So really, I just went through cleaning out my playing tab again. So that includes Broforce, a Hairdresser Simulator, Max Payne, Tower of Fantasy. I'm basically spending more of my time doing ESO daily quests and trying to get through Professor Layton when I do have the time. So everything else is just kind of slowly paused right now until I can get to that. True retireds are Birdle, because I think I got like maybe 3 or 4 days into it before it started getting specific enough where I wasn't going to win. Like, I lost with a bald eagle one day, and I was like, how are you not grabbing eagle when I'm typing it? Like, it used to be able to just take like hawk and sparrow. And now I'm like, oh, now I have to like type out the full name for it. And I was just like, listen, like, I love birds, but I'm not going to know these off the bat like that to be able to get this every day. So retired that one.
Just type bird for every answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pro strat.
I mean, it's not wrong. It is bird.
Yeah. Balatro, because I didn't get sucked into it, unlike everyone else apparently. It was cute for a while, but it wasn't really my game, so I installed that from my phone where I was playing it. And my last
Seems like
game
this
that I have here
podcast is hefty on people who played Balatro but did not get sucked into it.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Balatro. I got fully addicted.
Yeah, but you're the only
Yeah.
one.
I was hoping it would be.
It's
Oh,
3
wait,
out of 4.
I thought you did too.
No, I played it a bunch, but I enjoyed it. I played it a good amount, especially there was like 1 or 2 days I couldn't access other games. But after that, I mean, I didn't even buy it after my Game Pass subscription was up, and I kind of just dropped it. I kind of prefer my other roguelikes a little bit.
Fair.
It was good though, to be clear. So
Yeah,
but
it was.
I didn't
It
get
was.
addicted.
It made me think for a bit. So yeah, I'm glad that it's not something to regret having bought. Like, if I ever in the future I want to download it again and install it, I'll do that. But yeah, and my last retire that I have here is Satan Loves Cake, which this is also an itch-miss game.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely an itch game. I'm not really sure what type of game this is, but I think it might be a Metroidvania, or it might just be like a side-scroller RPG. But I just didn't have the patience to get through like the second section of it, so I just uninstalled it. There's some cute humor, and a lot of the hell and double puns that they had I enjoyed, but I couldn't jump over like this one section, and I was like, it's not worth it to be this frustrated over this tiny game, so I just got rid of that one. Yeah,
Very
that's my
reasonable.
retired and paused. Yeah. So who wants to move on to the playing section?
Mine is going to be pretty quick, so I'm happy to kick us off for this section.
Yeah.
So I guess January tends to be a very admin-heavy month for me, and this year was no exception. So playtime is a bit on the lower side this time around. I have 2 games to talk about. Both of them I've spoken about on the podcast before, so it's sadly no new stuff, but I guess oldies but goodies, ? The first game I'll be talking about is Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm talking about some of the post-game stuff that I did, and I'll be talking about my experience catching the legendary for this game. So just like the mildest of spoiler warnings, for if anyone doesn't want to hear about that, that's what I'm about to rant about. So once you've beaten the game, buckle up because I have some thoughts. Once you've beaten the game, you can catch Zygarde. Surprise, surprise. Legend Z, and just heavily in the game. He's the legendary that you catch. He's one of many legends. He's the cover legendary, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And the experience catching him was something that I hated. So, Pokemon Legends, this has been true in both Legends RCS and also Legends ZA, has kind of new mechanic where when you're out in the wild, as you're going through the game, your player can get hit by Pokemon's attacks, and if your player takes enough hits, they faint. In RCS, like I think you black out or something, and like you drop some of your items in the wild, and you have to go back and like retrieve them later on. But anywho, like making sure that your trainer dodges enemy Pokemon attacks is one of the mechanics for this series. And when you're doing boss battles against the Mega Evolved Pokemon in this game, they love to target. So you're kind of like, you have 2 goals. One of them is to whittle down their HP to 0 by setting out your Pokemon, spamming the attacks, the typical battle style. And as you're doing that, you also need to make sure that you're dodging the enemies' projectiles. And the Mega Evolved boss battles in particular, they love to... Your Pokemon basically don't exist to them. They couldn't care less like what your Pokemon are doing. They want you dead specifically. They're trying to hone in on you. And I think I kind of touched on this in a previous episode when I was talking about how the game was starting to wear out its welcome with me because the boss battles felt so repetitive and that they're sort of just like spamming attacks and just trying to like dodge Pokemon attacks with the trainer the whole time. And that was definitely the experience that I had with the Zygarde boss battle. So there's 3 phases. The first 2 are fairly inconsequential. You you attack, you whittle him down to 0 HP relatively quickly. But the final stage is what really started to grind my gears. Obviously, it's like his strongest stage. And what not disturbed me, but what bothered me about the third stage is that there are a couple times where Zygarde will do these like really large special attacks I learned through lots of trial and error that there's a very small safe spot in the arena that you can stand to like not get hit by said attacks. But if you don't make it to the safe spot, it's effectively a 1-hit KO. It's technically like a multiple. You get hit multiple times, but the thing is, like, if you're standing, like, if you're in range of the first hit, I'm pretty sure you can't get out of range quick enough to.
It's
basically like a 1-hit KO. Right, and I'm all for learning a boss's attack patterns and everything. Like, I love a Soulborn game, and that's obviously a huge part of those games. But I hate having to sort of get to the final stage of a battle and then lose to what is effectively a 1-hit KO. It's just so tedious to get you back to where you were previously. Like the first stage and the second stage, it's like, I want to say somewhere between 10. Maybe it just felt longer because I was on an airplane and it was just not a pleasant experience. But it feels like it takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get to the third stage, and then to get to that stage only to have you struck dead immediately by one misplay just was not a pleasant experience for me. It felt very unfairly punishing, and I almost rage quit. But I stuck through. I eventually caught him. But also, as insult to injury, is that if your player gets
the rage quit Pokemon game.
I mean, the competitions in Gen 3 have done that to me as a child plenty. That's
fair. And I guess what really added insult to injury for this experience is that when you get knocked out, the game gives you this message being like, oh, train up your Pokemon and try again. It's like, my Pokemon are not the problem here. My Pokemon are level 100 and they haven't fainted. The problem is that Zygarde wants me dead specifically and is going to pull out all the cheap stops to do so. And so that message angered me. I was feeling very salty about that. But anywho, I finally caught him. And then I've been playing a tiny bit more of the Mega Dimension DLC, but I also, not to be so negative about Pokemon today, but I don't have many positive things to say about this one either. I feel like this one is also teetering on retirement because, like I mentioned previously, it just feels so grindy. And again, I'm still at the very beginning, so it's possible it'll get better as time goes on, but my current experience, so as a refresher, the basic gameplay loop for what happens in the DLC is that you gather berries, you can buy them or whatever, but you need to accumulate berries. Once you have berries, you can make donuts. You feed the donuts to Hoopa, and
God,
it's science. It's science. Trust me.
Yeah.
You feed the donuts to Hoopa, and then Hoopa opens a portal to the alternate dimensions or whatever. And then when you're in the dimensions, you want to do your research tasks, like catching the Pokemon or whatever else you do in the dimensions. But you have a time limit. You only have at the beginning it's 3 minutes, and I'm assuming that as you progress with the story, maybe there's ways to expand this time limit. But you're on a time crunch. You have to do all this shenanigans. Then you finally get access to the Mega Dimensions. You go in there. You have a very brief window of time to do your business, and then you get kicked out. And I don't know. It's that whole flow just feels too grindy, too repetitive for me. I hate that the new content is behind a time limit. I wish that they gave you more of just a free reign to explore these new dimensions or whatever. I don't know. And again, I'm very early on in the DLC, but I've just been so frustrated with my experiences so far that I don't know if I'm going to go that much further with it, which is a shame because I really want to see what the new megas are. I'm anticipating there's probably going to be some interesting story moments or interesting side quests, but I just am not in the mood to grind to get there. And also, I mentioned previously, when you're in those mega dimensions, all the Pokemon are over level 100, so you have to really make sure that your team is trained up. Right. The game expects you to have done a lot of grinding before you get to this content. And I have, a couple Pokemon who are at that level, but not a super vast array of Pokemon who are at level 100 to choose from to navigate this content with. So I don't know. It's asking a lot of me, and I don't know that I'm going to oblige. So watch this space. We'll see what happens with me and this Pokemon journey. And then the other game that I've been playing, which again I've spoken about on the podcast before, is Fantasy Life I. Don't have a ton to say about this. I've mentioned previously on the podcast that I feel like this is a really good game to play in short sessions, and that's been my experience this time around as well. I've been every now and then when I find myself at the time, I'll boot it up on my Steam Deck for a little bit and dilly-dally around in the little Fantasy Life world. It used to be fun. I'm still working my way through the main story, but I'm enjoying this game. Looking forward to see what more it has to offer, and eventually getting around to DLC when I've beaten the game. But that is my playing for this time around. All right.
I guess I'll just continue with more Pokemon, maybe. It seems like we have a lot of Pokemon this episode. Roy talked about Pokemon, Diallo talked about Pokemon. I'm gonna talk about Pokemon twice now. Probably most likely a new record for us in one episode. I've also started playing Pokemon in different ways. For one, I'm playing Pokemon Sapphire as a Soul Link Nuzlocke with a fellow member of the How Long to Beat community, Exy. We've been hanging around in the Discord voice chat a couple times and tried this weird thing. I've never even played a regular Nuzlocke, let alone a Soul Link Nuzlocke before. Again, like a quick recap for those that don't know, a Nuzlocke is a self-imposed set of rules where you basically can only catch one Pokemon in each area, and if that Pokemon is faints, you have to let it go. You cannot use it anymore, and that's how you're supposed to get through a game. The Soul Link variant enhances that rule set by having two players play side by side with their own game. Exy is playing Ruby, and every time we catch a Pokemon in an area, its soul is linked to the Pokemon that the other player catches in that area. So when one of those Pokemon faints and gets thrown away, the linked Pokemon has to go as well. So you share your losses basically. And there's also similar stuff when you want to change your team to have like a better strategy with the Pokemon in your team. You have to consider that when you want to put a Pokemon out into your Pokemon storage system, the other person has to be okay with that too, because their sold Pokemon has to do the same move and that sort of thing. We haven't even gotten that far yet with a full team where that was even a thing that we had to think about. But we have a lot of deaths. We had one failed attempt already where we didn't even get to the first batch, and we just that also had a crashed emulator going on, so that's not really a fair failure. But the first run didn't work out, and we are currently on the second run where we have also had a massive amounts of losses, including our starter Pokemon. But we did beat the first gym leader already, and I actually think Exy is very much not hopeful about this run, but I keep egging them on. I think there's still some juice left in this. I think we can still get further. At least a couple more gyms, I'm sure. Although, then again, I am the vibe player in this team. I just play Pokemon, choosing I play to explore the worlds, and I do a bit of strategic fighting, but most of the time I choose my Pokemon in a regular run by how much I like them or whatever, and not really how much they function as a battle machine or whatever. So I don't actually have like the technical knowledge and whatever to actually assess how well we're doing or how well we are going to do in later parts of the game. That's Exy's job. Exy is the nerd. Exy knows everything about these games, and Exy is telling me that we're not gonna make it, but I got the hope that we're still gonna get a good while into this at least. But it's been a while since we had our last session. We have to get on that at some point again.
Yeah, I had thought you guys were done because I hadn't seen you in the Discord chats in a while.
Yeah, we're taking it slow. It's also because, of course, living in wildly different places on Earth, it's also kind of tough to get, the right time going and whatever. Yeah. We're not in a rush. That's one of my Pokemon playthroughs, and the other.
We should play some Pokemon together sometime, honestly, Matt.
I don't know. There's currently enough Pokemon going on, I think, to satisfy me at least. I have finally.
Is such a thing possible?
Yeah, it is. If you ask me, I have finally picked up, after I think 6 months or more, that Pokemon Ultra Moon playthrough that I started last summer. And then, kind of shelved because I couldn't, I don't know. couldn't be bothered to pick up the 3DS. But there has been a lot of Pokemon talk on the Discord. Also, of course, this Nuzlocke run with Axie and whatever. And I've kind of been more in a Pokemon mood again. And it really like urged me to continue this almost forgotten run of Ultramoon. Especially since I've said this way back then. Ultramoon genuinely seems like one of the better, more recent Pokemon games, and people that have played all of the new ones and whatever keep, telling me as well, this is one of the better ones and whatnot. And yeah, it generally feels that way. It's pretty. I like the presentation. It has a very, very fun assortment of Pokemon. It is also one that gets away with the classic Pokemon structure of 8 gyms and whatever, and does its entirely own thing, which is very, very interesting. And so, yeah, I'm actually really down to continue this now. I'm actually back into that fire. What I'm gonna change though now is that I'm I think halfway through the whole thing, and I said in an episode eons ago that I was kind of sleepwalking through the game. I was not like listening to the music or whatever. I was just kind of pressing buttons while having a movie on or whatever, which I'm kind of regretting in the sense that I'm not really into the lore and story of this thing. And especially because this is getting rid of the classic structure, it actually makes sense to pay attention for once. So now I'm actually playing it with focus. I'm actually listening, and I'm actually, trying to get into the getting the immersion going on and whatnot. My team, however, is a complete nightmare. It's a 100% vibe pick. And like my type spread. Yeah, my type spread is complete garbage. I have been bullied about it plenty of times by the more knowledgeable Pokemon players in the community. And I think I like to hear what other people have in their Pokemon team during the run, so I'm just gonna mention it here as well for the few ones that care. Currently, my Ultramoon team contains Meteor, a Freakazoid Meteor Pokemon. Goalie supports a mutated Silverfish. Malamar, who is a big squid.
My friend Malamar.
Right. Radicate, who is a rat. Ribombi, who is a tiny bee, and Shinotic, who is a goofy mushroom mess. That's my team, and they are epic in design, but they are not a strategically functional team. I'm doing my best, but I'm sticking to it. Yeah, that's my current Pokemon adventures.
I will say about Pokemon Ultramoon.
Yeah.
This is one of the games that I've actually retired. This predates, my joining How Long to Beat. But yeah, it does. I think this game has a lot of potential. What killed it for me is that I played both Sun and Moon, and I was interested to see what they added in Ultramoon. But my issue was that up to the point that I got to in the story, it was like 95% the exact same experience that I had in Sun and Moon. I think most of the new stuff is kind of like towards the end of the game, or like in the post game even. And I was frustrated that like, okay, I'm like at least 75% of my way through the story at this point, and I've seen maybe like 15 minutes of new content, and I just don't have it in me to like play this story for a third time. So I feel like it might be even a better experience to go into this game not having played the original Sun and Moon, because then you get sort of like the enhanced edition without having, while it all feels like new and fresh for you. So I'm excited to see how the rest of your playthrough plays out.
I think I have heard that as well from other people that, if you have the choice, play Ultra versions. You don't need the basic ones.
Right.
And yeah, it seems like I've made the right choice. Unknowingly so, because when I booted this up, I didn't even realize they were, the second version of those games. I thought they were just it.
Honestly, the one thing I'd say is I always thought the story was better in the original than Ultra, though.
Really?
The one thing I'll say. Yeah, I thought the end of Ultra changes some of the stuff with Lusamine in a way I thought the original maybe was a bit more interested in.
Huh.
It's not going to be like a huge difference, though. Ultra adds a bunch of other good stuff, though, like the Ultra dimensions and whatnot.
Right. Yeah, I'm not even aware of any changes. I'm just playing this as is without any know. It's actually fun, and this is something that I haven't really experienced much because I don't usually play the newer games. With this, I'm actually like encountering Pokemons I have never seen before, and that's so novel. When I was still into Pokemon, you have already looked at the entire new Pokédex before actually having the game and whatever. But nowadays, I don't do that anymore. I don't know it anymore. Like Meteor thing, which is a Meteor, which is genuinely an exclusive to this generation. It hasn't like shown up in other Pokemon games yet. I've never seen it before. So when I see that thing, it's actually exciting and kind of like it brings up that childlike wonder, you know? It's neat.
Honestly, that kind of reminds me of like, I think it was Black and White. Like, because of when Black and White came out, it was the era where there was some level of like looking up data, but not enough that you could just like, know every Pokemon or whatever that's released before the game kind of thing.
Well,
And well, that's just kind of what it was, but at the time, because they didn't reveal all the Pokemon like officially before the game back then. You just bought the game when you found them, kind of thing. And I actually remember something that was. Well, I'm trying to get to a specific point. Then you can, if you don't mind. I actually remember I would go to Smogon, and I kept being interested, trying to find out what new things had popped up. And especially because like there weren't any images sometimes, so people were guessing all these wild thoughts, and then actually seeing when they came out. Especially because it was all like Japanese names; it wasn't English names.
Yeah.
So that was kind of just a fun experience with that kind of, unknown going through stuff energy.
But I think like with localization, the Japanese version has been out, and the Pokédex has to be online way before it hits like the US or EU market already. So I can't even imagine that happening, not knowing all the Pokemon. Unless you you just don't look it up, I guess. But I remember.
Yeah, you could just not look it up.
Yeah. I remember as a European,
also, like,
everybody already had it, and we had just like the whole list available by that point.
I mean, nowadays the game's released simultaneously. So.
Right. Okay. That's right.
Nowadays, I think the bigger thing is I think they reveal more of the Pokemon before the game comes out. But I think for a while they've released the games kind of simultaneously, so you don't get that spoiled by Japan kind of energy.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, that's, I guess, enough Pokemon for this episode. Other games.
Well, maybe the episode, but.
Yeah, okay. For me, for now, at least. There are some games that I'm still playing that I already mentioned in the last episode. Go with those first here. One of them being Old School Rally, which is, again, like retro style rally racing game. That is a perfect podcast game for me right now. I'm a bit over halfway through all the like circuits, and it's. I've actually thought this would be a much quicker playthrough, and I'm actually happy that it is, much more content than I expected. I'm spending good time on this, good quality time. Racing games are such perfect stuff to just get into a flow state and just like chill. And this is perfect for that because there's not much going on in a good way. My biggest challenge right now are definitely the China tracks. This is a rally track, so it goes through different places around the world. And China got some fucked up, windy ass like hillsides, and they are genuinely like messing me up, kicking my ass. That I think so far those are the only like true challenge in this game. But again, I'm only halfway through. I wonder how many more struggles there are gonna be later on, and I'm hoping there's not gonna be more new China tracks showing up that are gonna kick my ass even more. Those are rough. Other game that I've already mentioned previously is Skate Story, which is that truly ethereal, poetic, completely abstract skating game where you are a demon in hell going through different layers of hell, trying to eat all the moons with your skateboard under your feet. And it's still a crazy game, insane aesthetic. Still, like, every time they come up with like a boss fight where you have to beat some kind of strange creature in a like space realm by doing epic tricks with your skateboard is just like, hell yeah, this is video games, dog. This is a peak. And even better, one of my previous sessions revealed a pigeon NPC in a chill cafe with a little side quest, and that was very delightful. I was very happy about that. So this continues to be one of the greatest games of all time, and I think I'm like pretty close to the end now, but like I'm kind of like glad to not have been done yet. You know what I mean? It's a good game to play. Wild thing to say, I know. Then a couple new pickups, 3 more games that I'm playing right now, which are all or most of them pretty small. I picked up a mobile game called Data Wing on recommendation from fellow community member R2D2 which is I guess a story-focused racing game. With a flat art style, top-down view, simple aesthetic, which fits, makes sense on as a mobile game. Just for clarity in this precision racing game and whatever, it makes sense. Whatever, I'm rambling. You basically play as a data messenger in a software, in a program, and you're tasked to transfer data from point A to point B. And you do that by racing through racetracks as a little arrow character. And there's this one major mechanic where you boost and gain speed by sliding along the edge of the track, which propels you, forward faster. So you're constantly supposed to drift very narrowly along the sides of the track, and that's where the difficulty comes in, and really having that locked in or whatever. It's a very smooth, very nice, well stylized racing game. The only problem is that it's on my phone, and I don't like that. It has, thankfully, like the controls are as simplistic as you could make them, which is good on a freaking touch screen. You only control left or right, and that is it. But I would much rather have this with a controller on my PC or whatever. And I'm actually kind of conflicted about this. I don't know if I want to continue playing this way, or if I want to go through the effort of like making this playable on my PC or whatever. I don't know. I want to go through the effort. All I know right now is that it is a good game. I just don't like playing on my phone or whatever, and that's a bit of a problem. I don't know if I'm gonna actually finish this. Another game that I picked up, which is, I think currently I'm just like looking for chill experiences that don't ask much from me, similar to like old school rally and whatever. And another one that's, or like Funhouse, the fucking rabbit gardening game or whatever. Like I think that's sort of the vibe right now that I'm looking for.
You're in your cozy
and
era.
I have another. Yeah, I truly believe there's something going on with needing cozy games right now. Let's not dwell too much on why that might be. Point being, I picked up a cute little puzzle game called Birds Organized Neatly, and I believe the developer has made a bunch of games that are the same concept with different creatures.
That's got to be the cats organized neatly and dogs organized neatly guy.
Yeah. It's definitely the same.
It wasn't.
Finally, he made a game targeted at Matt.
Exactly. Yeah. It genuinely, I had no interest in the cat or dog ones, but when I got the birds in there, I'm all over. Yeah, I'm all over that. And the gameplay is just a shape-based puzzle game where you get a bunch of birds with individual like specific shapes, and you have to fit them in a grid, and that's it. Then you go on to the next level. That's all. It's a very focused, simple puzzle game. It does what it sets out to very well. It's a perfect podcast game or whatever, and I'm having a chill time with that right now. That's good stuff. The last game that I'm playing right now, and this is, I think, more interesting as well, It's a brand new release that just came out, like, at the time of the recording. Don't Stop Girly Pop is a brand new first-person shooter that I was excited for a while, and I didn't even expect it to like arrive this soon. This is how to describe it. It's a very eccentric, very stylized, movement-heavy first-person shooter that like takes like vibe from early arena shooters where you truly like race and jump around your fighting arena while you shoot at a bunch of creatures and whatever. Like there's a lot of speed involved. The faster you are, the quicker you regain your health and all of that stuff. These sort of mechanics. There's like a bunch of movement mechanics to make you quicker that are probably also very much aimed at speedrunners, purposefully so, that sort of thing. And it's all bright ass pink. It is girly pop to the max. It has these Y2K aesthetics. You have like a clear plastic flip phone with an FMV character that tells you all the lore and whatever. It's super fucking dope. You have weapons like a bubble gun where you encase your enemies in bubble gums and then make it explode later on and that sort of stuff. There's a cosmetics feature where you can dress up your guns with cute little items. You can have a nail gun and like put a bunch of butterflies on it, and that's just like, I'm all over this. It's aggressively pink, and everybody that knows me knows that I like aggressive pink.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah. It has a very well produced original pop soundtrack. It has all the things that you would expect from this in terms of presentation and aesthetic. The gameplay so far is very solid. I often am afraid going into these like fast-paced first-person shooters that I'm gonna be too old of a grandpa to actually like keep up with this shit. So far it's been fine, but I'm waiting for the moment where I'm just gonna be like too slow for this nonsense. But I'm enjoying my time with it until then greatly. I love that this exists. I love how much like there's genuine ambition here. I love how much effort went into this very clearly in every single way, it seems. And I hope this really catches on. I think there was circle around the internet that was actually like generally looking forward to this. This with the strong Y2K aesthetics and the, I guess, like feminine empowerment in a weird way, that sort of thing is, I think, very popular for good reasons nowadays. And I hope this catches on well in that sense. It is a lot of stuff that rule right now compressed into one cool experience. And I'm happy that exists. That's what I'm playing right now. Please take over, whoever.
I do remember this game having like a neat aesthetic. Was that the Game Awards, I was saying? It was at one of them
possibly,
shows.
yeah.
Because I just remember seeing in like a trailer
I think it was
montage.
the Summer Games Fest.
Oh,
Yeah.
it might have been Summer Games Fest. Yeah. I don't know. I remember this looked good. And hey, it did get you 4 points in Fantasy Critic League, so.
Oh, yeah. True.
But,
the How Long to Beat Fantasy Critic League. Look that shit up.
Right. I think I'll go next, in part because mine will be quite quick. So first off, still on that Wordle
there's more
train.
Pokemon. Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. That's why I said.
Yeah.
I completed today's Wordle during the episode, as per tradition. Got in 5. That puts the streak at 973. So assuming I don't lose, it won't be next episode, but 2 episodes from now, I get to 1K.
Holy crap.
I played some Arknights, but it was just kind of in doing some stuff, nothing worth talking about. I played 1 map of my Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, like Iron Man run, while I was waiting around one day for, like, I forget what it even was. I was like waiting for a package or something. So I was out in the living room and I didn't want to be distracted by stuff, so I just grabbed my Switch and played a Fire Emblem map kind of thing. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And Pokemon Silver, I was just returning to a Nuzlocke run I started like 3 or 4 years
Another
ago
one.
after beating Pokemon Blue. I played it
Oh my
for like an
God.
hour or two, did some stuff, then I had some real life stuff I had to do, and I haven't really returned to it yet. Unfortunately, I've been really busy the past 2 weeks and have not had a lot of gaming time. Oh, and I was doing my normal tabletop simulator stuff. I just forgot to
Of
put it on
course.
this list.
Yeah.
But that's really it. I just really have nothing to say about my playing this time, even though I technically had a decent amount of it. I did get very lucky in Arknights, and I pulled a bunch of characters I wanted, though, during the current event, so...
Yeah.
There's that. Anyway, Leah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still also playing Wordle. I'm also playing Murdle still. I think since last I finished Myrtle Volume 1, but I'm in the middle of one of the other books right now. So the physical book and also playing the daily puzzles on the website. That's still happening. Where's My Seat is a mobile version basically of Is This Seat Taken? So that's basically, I could talk about those together. They're basically same sort of logic puzzle concept where like they have a bunch of people and then like one of the levels is like a stadium or whatever, and it's just some of them will be like, I root for the home team, I root for the away team, I want to stand, I don't want to sit in a dirty seat, and you have to like put everybody like where they're supposed to go that makes them happy. So yeah, I was playing, I tried the demo of this Is This Seat Taken ages ago, and then somebody in another server mentioned Where's My Seat, and I saw the screenshot and I was like, oh yeah, I've played that too. And then when I looked it up, I was like, this is a completely different game. It's basically the same aesthetic, so I don't know if it's a port or whatever, or if they just like stole the concept, or which one is the original, I don't know. But so I downloaded it on mobile and I've been playing that also. Elder Scrolls Online, Professor Layton and the Last Specter, Hypnospace Outlaw, and God of War.
Christ, that's
I've
so
played
much.
them, but it's been so long since I played them. I can't remember where I was last in them since like the last podcast. So, just know that they exist here. They exist in my playing tab of my heart and not in the retired section. So there's that.
I want to really quickly say something since you brought up Hypnospace Outlaw. It's not going to make my list that we're doing later for Game of the Year for games I played last year, but it was the first game out. That's all I wanted to say.
The first game out.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. I played the new update, and like the new stuff is cool. I like that you're able to like move around square by square now. That was actually really helpful because I just went around and I started like digging up certain things, and I was like, oh wait, I can do this square by square now. This is great. But honestly, like the new hotel that they've added on the island is just the same thing as DLC. So like I got tired of the DLC. I don't want to do that again on my own island. So I will put together a few rooms for them or whatever, but like I'm in the minority here where like I hate decorating in this game. I'll do anything else that they want me to do, but like I can't stand decorating in these games. So like there was a little bit of a time where like I really got into like feng shui because there was like some YouTuber that I was following and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is like accessible to me now. Cool. And then like I was like, I'm gonna start doing things because like they mention it sometimes in the little people that rate your house in the game. They'll mention feng shui things, and I'm like, I don't know enough about this or whatever. So like, when I got into that YouTuber, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll like put this into my island. I, like booted up the game, walked into the house, and I was like, I don't want to.
Great.
I was like, I hate decorating so much. It's just like it's too much work for me. Shit. I was like, I'd rather just go craft things, which is also easier now because now you can do multiples at a time. So that's cool. But yeah, like my island, I played longer than everybody else usually has. Like when people see like how many hours I have, they're like, why? And I'm like, it was 15 minutes a day for the course of like 4 years. So like it does add up eventually.
Just that kind of slow drip accumulation rather than big bursts.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I don't know that this is going to pull me back into playing every single day again. I was like, oh, I'm going to play, because the update came out a day early. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get to it. And I didn't get to it until like 3 days later. And I was like, listen, if I can't even be this excited about the update as it come out, like it's not going to be a pull to me. So I'll probably boot it up every once in a while and do a few rooms in the hotel just to like buy stuff in their store or whatever. But like, I'm not as excited or thrilled about the update as other people seem to be. Yeah, that's that. 112. I don't even know how to pronounce this actually, because I know the American version is just 911. So I don't know how to pronounce. Is it 112 or 112? I don't know.
It's 112, I'm sure. That's how I would say it. Yep.
91112 operator.
So this is supposed to be like 911 911 operator for the lesser emergencies. So instead of it being like a fire in your house or whatever, they're like, I just had a spoonful of soup that has poison in it, and you're like, okay, well, you know, and then you just like explain it to them.
A pretty substantial emergency in my
book. I was gonna say that. Sounds like a pretty big. I just got poison.
But it's like, where it's just like, oh. It's not like my house is currently on fire. It's just like, oh, clearly somebody has to come get me, but it's not, you know, more immediate because it's just like, well, what did you have? And they're like, oh, it's like I had spoiled milk, and it's like, okay, that's not poison though. Like,
okay, that makes more sense.
Or like a cat's in a tree or something like that.
I feel like that sort of stuff happened in 911 Simulator as well, though.
Yeah, but I think 911 also has like, you know, domestic disturbances and stuff like that, where just like more serious things are happening, and this one's a little bit more lighthearted. It's still kind of like dispatch the police, dispatch the ambulance or whatever, but I don't remember if in 911 you could choose your map. Because that was like one of the first games I bought.
Dog, you were able to choose your real life neighborhood and would pull from Google Maps or whatever, and you could play on that. It's so cool.
Yeah,
that's
so
why I love 911
that
Simulator.
First off, that's actually really cool. Secondly, it's funny to me how much Matt's face has lit up. And he's been so down to talk about 911 operator this entire
I love
time.
that game for that reason. That's super cool, super unique.
I gotta go. I have 911 on my Switch, but this I just had on Epic for some reason. I guess they gave it away at some point.
Yeah.
So I was I opened it just to be like, my idea this year was I was gonna get through all my Epic games that I have on my backlog. So I was like, all right, this is already installed. Let's play this one. So, but yeah, that was one of the things that when you opened it, you can like pick your area, and I've moved since I played 911, so I was like, oh, this is my maps literally right now. So that was cool because I don't remember that from the first one. It was like so cool to be able to be like, oh, obviously this road's gonna get you there faster because, you know, you can just like move around because I'm like, that's a highway, that's a dead end, like whatever.
So good.
Yeah.
So 911 Operator is a game that I've been meaning to pick up again for a long time because I love that concept and the way it does it. And I don't think I've only think I played like sandbox mode or whatever. I don't think I ever played a campaign, if they even is one. And 112 Operator also, I keep seeing that. I wonder what could even be different. I have no idea.
From what I can tell, it's just the nature of the emergencies, like. Instead of it being like super big emergencies, it's like, you know, a dog attacked or something like that. Instead of it being like there's a shooting going on. Like,
I feel like all of that was in the first one as well. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, like I feel like the thing is that there's less of the bigger emergencies, or maybe it's the vehicles that you have, because I don't remember there was one section where I was playing and like I couldn't use a certain vehicle, but I can't remember what specifically. Maybe they just have like certain campaigns where you can only use certain vehicles or something. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't play it for too long, but I do want to go back to play 911 first and then see, you know, what else I'm gonna do with this one. But yeah, that was super cool to play.
Hell yeah.
Fitness boxing, Just Dance, jump rope challenge. This was my very old school COVID times exercise regime that I used to do back in the day. It might be a small apartment back then. But I'm not in my 30s anymore, so I pulled my back during fitness boxing, and I had to stop this for
Oh, no. Oh,
I'm
no.
doing better now, so
We're
I should be
getting
able to get
old.
back to it next
No.
week. I should be able to get back to it next week, but yeah, I was. The other thing is that like I've played Just Dance so often that like I don't need the game to play them. Like I can just listen to the song, and I'm like, oh yeah, I
gosh.
know the moves already. So
Wow. That's
I don't know
impressive.
why
That's
I
actually
decided,
sick,
oh yeah, I
honestly.
have to have the thing open. So yeah. Quasar Blaster, which is a little itch game by the same dev as Arcane Beak, and it's basically the same sort of gameplay. I'm not sure if there's an official end. It's like one of those game jam games, so it's short and simple. But that was
Right.
kind of fun. While waiting, yeah, so I played the demo of this ages ago, probably last summer, maybe last spring. It's a quirky little humorous game where it's just basically like they give you tasks to do while you're waiting for things, while you're waiting for the bus, waiting for it to stop raining, waiting for your break at work to finish or stuff like that. So they give you little things like, oh, find this, or do, turn the light on or whatever. So I didn't realize that it was going to be releasing soon. Like sometimes I just pick up demos and I'm just like, this game is never coming out, whatever. And I think it was during like the Game Awards, like the Game Awards. Maybe it was some event where there was like a whole bunch of developer stuff coming out, and they were just like, "This is releasing tomorrow," and I was like, "It is? Oh, okay." So I like bought it immediately just because I was just like, that was such a fun. Like I was like laughing hysterically playing it because I was just like, this is so dumb, but it's so fun. So, but it's also a very like, I don't want to say cozy game, but it's a very like low stakes game to play. So it was fun.
We don't use the word cozy
It's not
lightly
really
around
cozy.
here. Okay.
Sometimes you just don't need high stakes.
I wouldn't say that it's cozy only because considering that it's while waiting, a lot of the times I'm like, I'm done with the stage. We can be continuing on to the next stage. And it's like, no, you gotta wait. You gotta wait for the timer or whatever.
So
and
it's
like, oh my god.
impatience simulator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Strange. Interesting.
So but that was an enjoyable little game. I've been playing that and Is This Seat Taken in the mornings every once in a while. So very slowly getting through them. So who knows when I will beat them, but
Well, we're gonna wait for that update. And while we wait for that update, why don't we go into the discussion topic?
little drum hat there. I'll edit that in.
Anyway, I don't think any of us have a soapbox, so it seems to me like the discussion topic is Game of the Year, because, we should have a little look back review of some of our favorites from the previous year. It'll be a review in February, but we don't really care. In terms of the top of the topic, we got a few main criteria. We can always jump around if we want. We got our expectations. What did we think would be our 2025 Game of the Year before the year started? And did it match what our expectations were? Did we even play the game we thought that we would? Because on this podcast, there's times we want to play a game and we don't end up doing it.
I wonder who that could be.
Could be me.
Damn.
And if we did play it, what do we think of it? Then we got to go to our actual games of the year. We're going to do a little bit of a round robin, Rosie, where each of us kind of says 3 honorable mentions and our favorite, and we kind of just like go, in order back and forth kind of thing. We're going to do one for all the games we played in 2025. Then we're going to do for just the ones that were released. But for some of us, we don't really have a lot of games that were necessarily released in 25, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then finally, so we can look back upon the next year that we will surely live to see.
It's so grim.
Really, it was hopeful because he is sure that we will be there. So actually, it
I
is
don't know,
us
but
who
I
puts
didn't
the
have any
brimstone
doubts.
on that.
I didn't have any doubts until he said that. Now I'm nervous, and I feel like I'm gonna knock on wood or something.
When Well, Diallo, consider that the reason to play the game that you decide to have a prediction for this year.
Jesus fucking
Anyway,
Christ.
Who wants to start?
It's beautiful.
That note.
Well.
So, expectations for 2025 first. I'll be honest. I'm usually not the type of person that plays games in the year they come out. I have done that a surprising amount in 2025, but that's a new development. I did expect a couple things like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 coming out and being exactly what I expected to be, and that has become true. It is not amazing, it is not bad, it is exactly the quality that I expected it based on the previous game.
It
so
truly
far
is
has
Tony
been
Hawk 3+4.
right. It really was. And I expected Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the new 2D Ninja Gaiden game, which I was hyped as shit about. I've talked about it plenty in previous episodes. That was like sort of like a what I expected to be a contender for my game of the year, as well as kind of Skate story, although in my heart of hearts, I didn't actually expect it to release in 2025 because that seemed like the kind of game that just was forever in development hell or something. But hey, it's here now. It made it. What I didn't expect was Sonic Racing Crossworlds. That one really pulled me in, and I was really excited for it. But that one actually ended up pulling me in way more than I expected. So those were like my 4 games that I kind of saw coming at the beginning of the year, and how they ended up, hitting me in the face or whatever. What were you guys
Matt
like?
simply wasn't aware that he would have a Hatsune Miku year. You know what I mean?
that I did not see coming. That's sure. Yeah, that's true. But none of that were 2025 releases, unfortunately.
Well, I was saying Kasana Crossworlds. That was the connection.
Oh my god, you're completely right. Holy shit, how could I not
Jesus.
not put that together? Yeah.
So for me, there's always an awkward thing when it comes to game of the year for me, and it's one reason why a lot of times for my game of the year, I don't necessarily choose a game from this year, the year it happens, because as I've said before, I'm poor, and a lot of times I can't actually play a lot of games the year they come out, kind of thing. So a lot of times I figure, it's going to be a long time before I find that out. This year was kind of interesting because I did get things like the little free stuff of Game Pass I had for a while, and was able to kind of get some games I normally wouldn't. So going into this year, I was thinking I wanted to play either Kingdom Hearts or Sonic Adventure 2, because those are 2 games that have long been on near the top of I want to play these games. And the year before this, in 2024, I played a lot of games, but I felt like a lot of the games I played were very short, kind of insubstantial experiences. So I wanted to try to find stuff that felt a bit more substantial or that I was really excited about. So that was kind of what I was going in for my expectations this year. I had seen, those were the 2 older games. And then I'd seen Expedition 33 and I was really excited for it just from the trailer. I want to say it was the Game Awards is when it was shown off. But I didn't think I would get to play it, kind of thing. So I wasn't even really thinking about it. I was really interested. I didn't get to play it this time. Silent Hill F, because I'm a big Ryokishi fan. So the idea of him working on a Silent Hill game is immediately appealing to me. I feel like a lot of the games I was I guess there was Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. That one had already been revealed. That I was excited for. But honestly, I feel like a lot of the games I was most excited for throughout the year did not get revealed until midway through the year that they would come out. Like Hollow Knight Silk Song, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Deltarune's, all the Chapter 3 and 4, that wasn't known exactly when it would come out. Metroid Prime 4, that was one. I know that game seems to have a bit of a controversial release, but I didn't know that at the time, kind of. of thing. I was just really excited for it because I like Metroid a lot. So like a bunch of stuff like that throughout the year. I was Hades 2 because I don't think we knew when it was going into early access before the year. Maybe we did. But there was a bunch of stuff like that throughout the year I was excited for, but it wasn't something I knew before the year started.
I guess in terms of
Yeah.
expectations, there are sort of two games that I can talk about. The first would be, so in 2024, the game that I enjoyed playing the most would be Metaphor Refantasio. I started it, I guess, I started playing it when it released. I was in my Funemployment era at the time, and I was very much enjoying it. Then I kind of accidentally, I didn't finish it in 2024. But as I was putting together my ranking of, my top 10 games of the year, I put a little disclaimer saying, Metaphor probably would have been my game of the year had I finished it. I'm sure it'll be my game of the year for 2025 instead. Flash forward to 2025, and I did not touch it at all, unfortunately.
The classic. I've been there.
Yeah, I expected that to be my game of the year going into 2025, and then I ended up not playing it at all because I've lost control of my life. The other game that sort of comes to mind is one that Roy mentioned, which is Hollow Knight Silk Song. And I guess, again, so going into 2025, I did not know it was going to be releasing in 2025. I probably would have guessed it was going to be coming out sometime in the 2030s. But had I known going into 2025, I was like, as long as I get this before I die, very pleasant surprise that it dropped.
As long as we can silk our last song, that's all that matters.
What the fuck?
I nodded as if I was like, yeah, of course.
You know how it is.
But yeah, had I known going into 2025 that the Silk Song release would be confirmed for 2025, I would have also predicted that to be a very strong contender for Game of the Year for me. I guess, spoiler alert, that's also one that I have not played much of yet, so oops.
Oops.
Shameful.
I mean, like we were saying earlier, you better get on it then.
Oh gosh.
Or else.
Yeah. That's my mood for my expectations too. Like, I always gather like a collection of a bunch of games that I'm gonna play that year just to get them off my backlog. Like, put them in the collection just so I can see how much time it's gonna take me. And for the last 2 years, I haven't. I mean, I've done some of them, but not more than half. So, yeah, I thought for the last 2 years I was gonna get through the Soulstorm games, the Abe's Odyssey games, and got through 1.5 of them and haven't touched the others. I also thought I was gonna get through Fallout games, haven't done that, or Skyrim. They're still sitting on my backlog. So, yeah, a lot of those. There weren't really a lot of games that I don't really pay attention to release dates just because what could have been my 2025 game of the year is now being pushed to next year. So that sort of thing happens mostly. I usually have like 1 or 2 games that I'm like really excited for, and I'm like, when it kind of comes out, like I don't even know what that's gonna be because they always seem to get pushed back. So what would have been my game of the year this year probably will be next year, but who knows? It'll probably get pushed back again.
That's the spirit.
So what I'm getting at from this discussion is that we're not afraid of commitment. We're just not good at it.
Yeah. Well.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
On that note, I guess let's
What a leave it.
our game of the year of what we played in 2025.
I'm gonna be honest. If we do releases, I'm probably just basically sitting it out.
Yeah, same.
All right, Matt, do you even have games released in 2025 to do?
I mean, I can definitely make it very quick. I like most of my contenders, my honorable mentions in that case were the games that I already like talked about in my expectations list. Truly, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is a strong contender for my game of the year, and Sonic Racing Crossroads, unexpectedly so, was so much fun that I would actually, consider it as my game of the year. Another like indie game mention that I want to put out there as a contender was Time Flies, which was I talked about that at the time. The pretty brief game where you play through the life of a housefly and have to like solve a bunch of tasks on a here are the bucket list things that you have to do before your time runs out. And I really, really enjoyed that concept and execution. That was, in terms of indie games, probably like up there in like as a game of the year. And I feel like maybe it is a controversial pick because I haven't actually beaten the game yet. But I'm confident, even having not seen 100% of the game and only I think like 80 or whatever. I'm confident this would in the end be my game of the year, truly. And it is the aforementioned Skate Story. That thing had extremely high expectations brewing for a long time, and somehow actually kept up with them. I part of me was dead set on this just being a disappointment and not actually living up to what it like sets out to be. But no, this is genuinely one of the most innovative games in a niche genre that I love, and it is still, with each session that I play of this game, Skate Story is still able to add something completely new to it that I really, really cherish in this game. Skate Story will forever be, or for a long time, be a video game that I'm gonna be thinking about and tell people about. So this truly, genuinely feels like the right pick for me of the year in terms of release in 2025.
So if we're looking at game that released in 2025 that I've beat, then my game of the year would go to Kirby Air Riders. I've spoken pretty extensively about this on the podcast before, but I love that game. I thought it was really, really fun. And then another one that I've beaten that released in 2025, and also, I don't know. Okay, well, so the caveat with this one is that technically this released in 2025. However, it's a port of a game from the 90s. I don't know if it goes the spirit of being a 2025 release. But if we ignore that,
that's what the port did.
Right. The port really didn't like add that much like new stuff. And I guess, no surprise what it's going to be. It's going to be Tokimeki Memorial Forever With You. I have done multiple playthroughs. I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite games that I played this year. Yeah, if we're limiting our game of the year choice selections to games that we've actually beaten, then Tokimeki Memorial. And if we're allowing the caveat of a 90s port, then Tokimeki Memorial would be my game of the year. There are some other games that I played in 2025 that I have not beaten yet that I would rank above it. But I guess we can save that for the next section. But that's a little spoiler of, I guess, what's to come for my ranking.
So here's how it's gonna work. One of us could say one honorable mention, the other one will, and then after all four people have said one, it'll go back to the first person, unless we decide to switch up the order, because who gives a fuck, really? So, point I'm making is, Diallo, since that was a good lead-in, how about you start us off with one of your honorable mentions?
Alrighty. I guess one of my honorable mentions, this is a game that came out in 2024, so just barely missed the 2025, I guess, deadline. But Indica, I loved that game. I have, I talked about how much I love this game on the podcast already. So, and I'm itching to do a replay in the near future. But just, it was like what, like a 5-ish, 6-hour experience that I had at the start of the year, around like maybe, actually I can see right now, it was April that I played it. And it's still, all these months later, I think about it not infrequently. I think it's such like a testament to what a creative, just like cool experience that was. So that's one of my honorable mentions.
Hell yeah. Okay.
All right.
Guess let's do Leah next.
One of mine has to be packing up the rest of your stuff.
Really?
In your apartment.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Sorry.
Because I replayed that. I replayed that like maybe 4 or 5 times. So yeah. I mean, I feel like I haven't played that many games, so it's not too surprising. But yeah. That's
I'm
one
sorry.
Of my,
it's so funny to
my
say you haven't played that many games. I've had like 30 played games this episode.
Haven't beaten that many, I guess, is the thing. But yeah.
Oh, right.
I dabble in a lot. I don't finish a lot, so.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah.
All right, if you're going by a classic hostation, I'm gonna be next, and I'm gonna say my first honorable mention is Inertial Drift, which was one of the most innovative racing games that I have played in general. because it was a racing game with a really unique control scheme for your vehicle that I have not seen before. Making use of both joysticks on your gamepad. And I've been thinking about that quite a bit when it comes to racing games, and I'm kind of like hoping to see more like that. But that is for like the true racing genre fans, that is one that I frequently like recommend as something unique and fresh and new. So that's my first honorable mention there.
I mean, I'll say this. I remember you talking about Inertial Drift. I added it to my wish list after you said that and looked it up. I am very interested in trying it sometime. I just can't afford to buy it. But at some point, I do want to hopefully get it and try it out. So, for me, my first honorable mention, which means it's number 4, is Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which I did talk about recently. But, you know, it's a very strong Kirby platformer. It's a nice evolution of the series, because the series has never really done like a big 3D platformer. The closest it got was Kirby 64, which I will say I actually do prefer to this game, but it's definitely not the same kind of experience. That's a 2.5D game. I think Kirby and the Forgotten Land, it makes a really strong first impression. It's very pretty. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be people who are like, oh, the enemies, when they're really far away, are rendered in low FPS to save engine power. And, like, sure, but I don't care about that. If anything, sometimes it adds a bit of character. But the actual environments, the art style, even things like just the water or, like, that kind of thing, it just looks nice kind of thing. It starts off really strong. I do think one of my issues with this game is the fact it doesn't evolve a lot during the game. It does kind of feel like it could have built on itself some more. Not even in terms of difficulty, because, I mean, Kirby games outside of their post-game tend to be pretty easy, so I'm not really looking for the Dark Kirby or whatever. But, I don't know, I feel like the style of puzzles and the way powers were used did not evolve a lot meaningfully. With there's the whatever they're called, not the copy powers, the new thing where you mouthful mode, that kind of thing. And like there's like mouthful mode with a light bulb, and it lets you see through dark areas. And I feel like, you know, there's like 4 levels where that's a major puzzle element. Some are like smaller, but there's like major ones. I didn't feel like there ended up being a huge differentiation between them, is the kind of thing. I think that there could have been a bit more evolution of what you do, like having to let it go and then go through the dark for a bit without it, and then you have to go pick it up again or whatever, even basic stuff. Or like most of the time when you did the car mouthful mode, it was a race. There wasn't a lot of times where it could have been modified, like, I don't know, just since the car can destroy a bunch of objects, you have to destroy a bunch of objects in a certain amount of time, or, you know, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, obviously. But then the ending is strong. I like the final boss a lot. Some of that kind of stuff, so it dips back up. I think overall it came across as a strong game that's not like an all-time favorite or anything, but it's definitely an honorable mention. It is, I believe, the only one of these games I'm going to mention I wouldn't give a 9. I would still give it an 8 right now, but I haven't done the post-game stuff yet. This also was one of the first games I rented from my library.
Yeah.
Which is a very good resource, and people should pay attention to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that means, unless someone else has something to say about it, we kick it back to Diallo.
Alrighty. So my next game, again, is one that I've spoken about on the podcast. The next game that I'm going to mention, I guess you could also... Well, I'll mention the game first, and then I'll explain why this could technically be argued to be a 2025 game as well. It's Mario's Picross, which, if you consider the fact that it came to Nintendo Switch Online in 2025...
Oh, no.
And that's why I played it.
No.
Well, either way, this game had a chokehold on me. I was looking at my Nintendo year in review thing. My Nintendo Switch year in review. There we go.
Oh my god, I never did that. I gotta go do it.
And I think it also came out late too, but I had over 24 hours in the Game Boy app, and I'm pretty sure that was I think the only Game Boy game that I played was Mario's Picross, so that kind of like speaks to just like how much I was playing that game.
Damn.
Yeah, it had a chokehold on me. I liked it a lot. I think part of the reason that I'm ranking it so high this year is because I played so few games this year. I beat, I think, 11 total. So we're gonna hear most of the games that I played over the course of this episode. But I don't know. I think I need to acknowledge the fact that this game had me hooked in a substantial way. So I figured I'd throw it out there as an honorable mention.
Dope.
And I think that means that it's Leah next.
My next one is probably going to be Wizard of Wings / the Birdcage games, which were those escape room games where you let birds out of cages.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were quick little games, but they weren't too complicated to do, and they featured birds. So that's all that you need to hook me. Puzzles and birds. That's it. Done.
Hell yeah.
Does your game
I
have
love that.
puzzles? Does it feature birds? Game of the year.
Yeah, almost.
I like it.
Almost.
Oh, almost. Sorry. Now, here's the thing. What's the secret third ingredient it would need to be Game of the Year?
Ooh,
Yeah, that's
good question.
some
That's
RPG
the
element, I'm
million-dollar
sure.
question. Oh, yes, of course.
Someday we will find that. Okay, my next honorable mention is going to be so. You know, Grounded 2 entered early access in 2025, and if it was a full release, that would have probably like rose atop all of the other games. But that didn't happen. Instead, me and my co-op gaming friend, we went to the next best alternative, which is Small Lands, which is a very much, one of those games that rid the coattails of Grounded. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense, because obviously I love this game, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about this. Small Land, like Grounded, was or is a bug-sized survival game that me and my friend, who also previously played Grounded together, spent many, many hours in going through the entire story mode. And it is a concept and a setting that I love. This added onto the Grounded setting with more mechanics that weren't in the original, in the inspirational game and whatnot, including me being able to tame and ride a cockroach. I ranted about that in length, I believe, back in the old episodes when that happened. So that will forever be one of the top video game mechanics of all time for me. And these things push this pretty high up on my contender list for my Game of the Years in 2025. But it's not quite there.
Just not quite, huh? It just needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that puts it back to me then, which means that the next honorable mention and number 3 on my overall is Kingdom Hearts 1. So that actually does mean that I did go to one of the games I planned on. Crazy. I'm
proud of you.
So, woo! But so Kingdom Hearts, I've mentioned this. I have a really long history with it, despite never playing it. It's always been one of the games I really wanted to play, particularly Kingdom Hearts 2. So my friend near the start of the year got me the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 collection on Steam, which gave me access. Because the thing is, I never had Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix didn't really release in English on the PS2, and I'm not sure how well my computer will emulate a PS3, so I couldn't get the version of Kingdom Hearts 2 I wanted unless I purchased it, which I kind of want to do anyway, because I prefer to do that when it's this game, for obvious reasons. It's just not always possible. So my friend was very kind to give me this, but I kind of thought going into this that Kingdom Hearts 1, because that would feel more archaic, basically, because I've always heard people say that this game, it doesn't feel nearly as good as the other ones, and it's very old school action RPG, and doesn't feel as modern stuff. But I was really pleasantly surprised that the gameplay is actually pretty dang good. There are points where it can be a bit iffy with the camera, or maybe not having the perfect kind of fluidity that some other stuff can have. But the gameplay systems are quite interesting. There's a decent amount of depth between the attack and magic, although in normal mode you can get away a lot with just kind of healing and going from there. The plot is pretty good. You know, I've said this before, so I'll keep it short. Kingdom Hearts plot is actually very direct and not confusing for like the first 3 games, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
It is not something that you're gonna be like, man, what's happening? It's only around Birth by Sleep or especially Dream Drop Distance that things actually get confusing. Before that, it's very direct. But the story's quite nice in that regard still. You know, the voice acting is very good in this game. I already knew that, but I like it a lot. It's very much a kind of coming-of-age, innocence lost kind of story when viewed through a certain lens, but also about keeping some of that wonder, which fits well with the Disney crossover elements.
Right,
the soundtrack remains just fucking dope. You know, the boss battles were fun. There were some annoying, like the Atlantica level. I didn't dislike it as much as a lot of people, but there was one part I just got really stuck in for like 20 minutes just because I couldn't comprehend what to do for a little while, and then I just had to keep running around until eventually I realized what I had to do, kind of thing. I don't know. It was just a really fun experience. It's hard for me to say too much more, but like I came into this game thinking it'd be just like a 7 to 8 out of 10. And it's kind of a stepping stone to later games, but I really enjoyed it. I would quite recommend it for people who have any kind of remote interest in it. I don't think it's the kind of game that'll change your mind if you don't like action RPGs or what it's selling kind of thing, but it very much delivers on what it says.
Yeah, very solid.
Yeah, so that means Diallo.
Alrighty. My next honorable mention. This is a game. It did come out in 2025. However, I have not beaten it. And I'm 99% sure it's going to appear on another honorable mention list. But this game is Clear Obscure Expedition 33.
Woo!
Which we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, so I'll just reiterate that I've had a lot of I've had a lot of fun playing this game. I still need to get to the ending, so once I do that, I will have more to say for sure. But yeah, it's a game that I've very much enjoyed. One of my favorite gaming experiences of the year, and I think I'll leave it at that. Short and sweet for this one.
Yeah.
All right. My last honorable mention, which is probably going to be controversial considering my third one, but it's Sheepy, which I didn't get to play during this. So yeah, I finished it in January, so it counts for this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good one. Yeah. My last mention, actually kind of had a tough time choosing here, but I think I have to mention the beginner's guide again. That one essay kind of thing from the Stanley Parable developer, which I loved so much. I had a long talk, I think, about this in a previous episode where I played this. But the beginner's guide is one of the most fascinating interactive narrations that I know of, truly making use of the video game setting in a way I've never seen otherwise, with its meta narrative. And without saying anything more, like Beginner's Guide will always and forever be one of the most interesting creations in the video game media for me. And so, having replayed that in 2025, I need to mention it here at least.
All right. So, this is the game that would be Game of the Year if I wasn't counting remakes, but I am. That's the top honorable mention. And I've talked about it a lot, so I won't get into it much. It's Clear Obscure Expedition 33.
Right.
Just great plot. The gameplay is amazing. The music and visuals are awesome. As somebody who loves RPG games, especially JRPGs, this was just a top tier one of that caliber. That it was cool to see something like this from like France instead of the normal places from like America or Japan or whatever. It gave it a unique feel. It used mechanics I've wanted to see used in games for ages and did them very well, kind of thing, like the Paper Mario kind of action commands. It's on my favorite games ever list at like number 8 or something. It's really the only reason it's not game of the year is because the number 1 game is what it is, basically. I've said enough about it, but it fucking rules.
Right.
Alrighty, so that's
Back
mean
to
this is time
Diallo.
for the grand reveal.
Yep.
Here we go.
Le
All right,
grand finale.
Yes. So, my 2025 game of the year. This is a game that came out in 2025. Sadly, it is not a game that I've yet beaten, and I'll talk a bit more about that in half a second. But the game is Blueprints, which, if you think back to one of the earlier episodes of the season, I was sort of like ranting and raving about how much I love this game. It's that sort of escape room meets like roguelike game, which I thought was a really neat marriage of two different concepts that I never would have expected to go together. I haven't beat this game, which I realized as I was preparing for this episode. I'm like, I know what I need to do, what I have left to do. Like, the path to victory is so clear to me that I kind of have forgotten for all these months that I haven't actually hit the credits yet. And I was hoping that I'd like find the time to, sit down and do so before this episode. Sadly, I've not gotten around to it yet, but I'm hoping to do so in the near future so I can solidify it as my pick for Game of the Year. But regardless, even going off of what I've seen so far, this has been one of my favorite gaming experiences in recent memory, / of all time. I just thought it was so cool. And I mentioned that I haven't hit the credits yet, and I think I talked about this in the first episode that I spoke about it. But, hitting the credits in this game is only the very tip of the iceberg. I understand there's literally hundreds of hours of additional mysteries to unlock beyond just like the sort of like getting to room 46, whatever the room is, sort of like surface level goal that the game presents for you. Once I hit the credits, it won't be the end of my Blueprints experience. I'm excited to also join the fray. And I think people to this day, I haven't spoken about it I have a friend who's like really into Blueprints, and I haven't talked about it with him for a couple of months now. But the last time we spoke about the game, which is back in, I want to say like November or so, he was saying like to this day, people are still uncovering new secrets in Blueprints. That was more than half a year post-release at this point. So just the vastness, the quality of the puzzles, just such like a overall really captivating, enjoyable experience for me. Again, but the first weekend that I played it, I put in over 24 hours in a single weekend. So that goes to show just how hooked I was on this game and how much I loved it. But this will be my 2025 game of the year, and I hope to beat it in early 2026.
Fingers crossed.
Oh no, I've jinxed it now, haven't I? It suddenly vanishes from my Steam library.
Oh my god.
Banished to the depths.
Yeah.
We'll hear about it in 2028. Okay, so my thing is I played a lot of decent games this year, like games that I enjoyed. Like I played Forspoken. I personally enjoyed it. I've been like, it wasn't a great game like objectively, but I was enjoying my time with it. Ghost of Tsushima, I went back to the Alan Wake ones, and GTA trilogy I played this year. But I've got to say that this was probably the year of like the very indie games for me. So my pick for game of the year is Boomerang X, which was like this
an early one,
super fast. Like,
yeah,
you played that like really early in the year. That's what sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was like I went through all the games that I've completed this year, and I was just like, honestly, 2 games that I had the most fun on were Forspoken and Boomerang X. And Forspoken, the story kind of just fell apart. So like Boomerang X is the winner, which like that wasn't even on my list. I read it somewhere in some article and was like, okay, I'll try it out whenever it's on sale or whatever. And I was just like, I am enjoying this game so much. So like that was like a hidden gem for me. So yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's actually dope. The surprise winners. It's I love to hear these stories or whatever. When you don't expect it and it's just the best thing ever, kind of.
Yeah.
All right, my game of the year in terms of the things that I played in 2025 is, I kind of feel like it might be a boring choice, but it is the true one for me. Redout
that's what
is
matters.
modern hybrid of like F-Zero, Wipeout, Hot Wheels. It's an anti-grav racer, and when I played it, it genuinely, with every single time I booted that game up for a new session, it blew me away again with its vehicle handling and visual presentation. It is anti-grav racing is a subgenre that I have been rambling about plenty of times in the past because it is one of my favorite subgenres, generally speaking. And Redout was a find after many recommendations from other people that like kind of embedded itself in my brain as a peak representation of that genre in modern terms. It truly did everything right that I would want from an anti-grav racing game, and it is still, visually speaking, one of my one of the coolest looking video games that I've ever seen. It often felt like, when you see like render tests or whatever to try out your hardware or whatever, they come up with these super fancy, unrealistic like graphics or whatever. Oftentimes, especially like when it goes into like weird sci-fi and fantasy eras, like in early 2000s things of these things. And Redout kind of felt like that, but it actually as a functional video game, and it was kind of like an amazing experience for me. And I'm not even like usually one that goes for the visuals in the video game. This one truly like that it hit all the right spots for me. And I love the campaign that really gave you like super open options of how you wanted to proceed with what kind of like race type you wanted to continue without actually being forced to doing every single one and whatnot. It had everything that I want in a racing game while being my absolutely favorite subgenre of the racing genre. And I will forever love it for that. And I'm so excited to get to the sequel, which is, I think, actually gonna happen pretty soon. I've been yearning for it lately. So that is my 2025 game of the year here.
Racing games, who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, hopefully we get one for the game of the month this time.
Someday,
I'm
yeah.
hoping.
Oh, yeah.
But for my game of the year 2025, I'm also not going to go into this one quite as much because it's another one I talked about quite a lot. It's Persona 3 Reload. As I've said before, Persona 3 is like a top 3 game all time for me with the FES original kind of thing. Reload, I think, is like a side grade where it improves on some things, unimproves on other things. It feels of similar quality with a different texture. Probably for a lot of people, this would be the best way to play Persona 3, though. And everybody should play Persona 3 because it's so fucking good. I mean,
Sure.
you don't like RPGs, this is the kind of game you should just play it anyway. Doesn't matter. Just accept that, hey, maybe you should try something new kind of thing. This game's just so good. The characterization, everything about this game is so good, and if I go too far into it, I'm just going to keep talking over and over. The music's great, and they add a bunch of great new music, even if the old dorm theme is better. The gameplay is, in my opinion, not as good as FES, but it's still quite good. I just think it's too easy, and that ends up reducing creativity later because it's so easy to kind of get through the game. And I think that the game being very difficult actually was part of the thematics. It looks fucking great, especially the menus, but there's a lot about this game that looks fucking great. Story characters is immaculate. Everything about this game fucking rules, okay? I have like problems with it because I have problems with anything, but like, goddamn, I was staying up until like 8 a.m. playing this shit to finish at the end because I just am like, oh man, I gotta keep going. This is what look, man. If you can't be sitting there as the sun rises and the ending credits of like the best song in the Persona series are there and have your eyes water up a little, what are you doing with your life? That's what I'm saying.
I'll follow you into Ridge Racer, but I can't follow you into Persona. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, if they come out with Persona Kart, though, I'm dragging you into it.
Right. Okay. That might be
Persona
possible.
Kart.
That might be a deal.
Persona Kart or Persona Cards, probably, or both pull Matt in.
Sure. Yeah.
You're gonna need
I'll
some
be
birds
there.
though for me.
Persona. It's a 20-hour itch miss game.
Oh my gosh. Right, so that was the peak of gaming from 2025, eh?
Yeah, it was. Which means that now, I think there's one major segment left, which is to say, do we have any expectations or predictions for our 2026 Game of the Year that we will hopefully see through, even though we all know half of the time we won't?
Not I don't even know what's releasing this year, and my backlog is already just like so full of games from 2025, 2024, 2023, etc., etc.
Yeah, fair.
So I've got my hands full.
Oh, I didn't think it had to be released in 2026.
Even so, I don't dare predict because we know that's the kiss of death for,
Yeah.
for me my playthroughs.
That's fair, he's learned.
Yeah, I'm slowly losing hope that GTA 6 is ever going to come out at this point. So
Truly, the
at this point,
modern
I'm like,
Silk Song.
yeah, well, I feel like that's more Elder Scrolls 6, but that's fine because I haven't finished Skyrim, so that can take forever. I'm caught up on Grand Theft Auto, so I would like to move on. But but yeah, I don't know of any other game coming out this year that allegedly coming out this year that I'm anticipating. So it would be that one. If and when it does. But yeah.
I mean, the low
I can
expectations
suspect
might
one that
be
Matt's gonna have
good.
one.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I think I know what you're saying. But I think the low expectations for GTA 6 might be actually good and actually help that when it actually doesn't disappoint, maybe it will end up your, well, not Game of the Year. I
Yeah.
don't
True.
think it's going to release. But other than that, at some point, sure. Who knows?
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, Roy, you're right. There's one game. I think you're talking about Bubsy 4D, which I am
Yeah, that's it.
highly and highly anticipated by me. Okay, truth be told, probably not actually gonna be Game of the Year, but it has genuine promise that I think it might be up there if I actually end up playing it. What I genuinely do believe will be Game of the Year if it exits early access this year will be Grounded 2. If that is actually like fully released and my friend and I can finally hop on that, I have a lot of confidence in that being similarly high level fun as the original Grounded, and then probably topping all my lists again. Though I hope these high expectations don't actually ruin it for me in the end. But I'm confident in these people that they will, deliver in at least equally as good experience. I'm also having my eyes out for that Star Wars pod racing game that I think I mentioned before that I'm having very high hopes on. If that, unless it like introduces some mechanics that I don't vibe with, that might also actually be high up there. And racing games get me very easily, clearly.
So as long as it's not bad, it might be good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. And there's this truly strange looking 3D platformer called Eternity Egg that might release in 2026 that looks really, really cool. I'm not saying that couldn't be up there for Game of the Year, as well as a sequel that I've been waiting for a couple of years now called Disc Creatures World, which would be a long-awaited sequel of a classic Pokemon inspired, creature collector that I loved a lot years ago. If this finally makes a development hell, I'm gonna be all over that very quickly as well. So these are like my big expectations. Leaving the smaller stuff aside, yeah.
So the problem with me is that my prediction is that there's going to be a lot of games I'm interested in I can't actually play. So I'm not really sure what to say in that regard. I'm going to start with the things that I can actually do, which is that I'm hoping to play at least, these are order games to be clear, for that part of kind of like the Game of the Year. I'm hoping to play and finish at least one of Kingdom Hearts 2, well, I guess Deltarune's not an order game. Deltarune or Knights of the Old Republic 2 The Sith Lords, which are 3 games that are right near the top of my like most want to play list that I actually have access to. So I'm hoping to play and finish at least one of them at some point. I probably shouldn't be, but I'm pretty interested in Arknight's Enfield, and it is free to play. So I'm almost certainly going to try and see if my computer can run it at some point.
Mm.
And hopefully it can, but you know how computers can be sometimes.
Right.
I'm a huge Slay the Spire fan, so Slay the Spire 2 is super interesting. I'm thinking I might try to get all my characters to Ascension 20 before Slay the Spire 2 comes out, because I'm this close. I only have like 1 or 2 guys to go. So I do want to see maybe if I can do that. Similar to Matt, I'm not sure it will be Game of the Year, but I will admit I am very interested in Bubsy 4D.
Let's
The
fucking go,
trailers do
dog.
look great, and I wasn't necessarily the biggest Demon Turf fan from what little I played, and that's the developers that are making Bubsy 4D, to be clear. But it had great energy, the art was amazing in that game, and I do think if I just gave it more time, I might end up really enjoying it, kind of thing. So because of that, Bubsy 4D, which has maybe a bit more of a traditional platforming, and also looks very good, has me quite interested.
I love this. Yeah.
And then to go into the exact opposite energy, I will probably try to play 2XKO, the League of Legends fighting game, with people and see how much
God.
I enjoy it.
What? I've never even heard of that nonsense.
How have you not? It's been, I guess you don't really pay attention to anything. So I guess that shouldn't be that
anything.
surprised, actually.
Damn. The gloves are coming off in this episode.
It's facts though. Yeah.
Obliterated.
But I don't know if it's going to be great, but I am one of those terrible little gremlins who actually enjoys playing League of Legends. So, and I like fighting games, so I'm suckered in.
Goodness gracious.
You know?
I'm so sorry.
There's a game I don't think will be Game of the Year, but I'm interested to try. It's called Vital Shell. It's like an indie game. It's like a top-down arena shooter thing, but it's like all mechs, basically.
Mm.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like an old FromSoft game that I can't remember the name of, like Frame Gride or something like that. I don't know. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls probably won't be a game of the year, but I quite like fighting games. This has been like his most wanted thing for like years, and he never thought the Arxis would ever make it, kind of thing. And I kind of suspect that when it comes out, either he'll find a way or I'll find a way to get it, and we'll end up playing a bunch together or whatever, and so I'm gonna get experience it. Code Vein 2, I still need to try the first one, but the first one interested me a pretty good amount, so I have interest in it, but I doubt it'll be Game of the Year. And finally, I thought Pragmata actually looks quite interesting from Capcom. And it's pretty outside the wheel I usually play, but because of that, it also has me interested. Like, maybe if I get a Switch 2 at some point, which I want to do, I will purchase that because it's supposed to be coming to Switch 2, because I doubt my computer can run it.
Right.
And frankly, buying a modern computer is like 2 times the price of a Switch 2 right now.
Not right now, the worst idea in the world, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe in the future, prices will return to, sanity. But...
We can only hope, yeah. Speaking of sanity, let's play an insane game, why don't we?
I like that segue.
Thank you.
So good.
So now we are going to play the collection game, which is our wonderful new Guess the Game that we have created and has done so marvelously for us so far.
Hell yeah.
Basically, whoever won the last game, which this episode is me, is going to pull a random collection using the website search on the How Long to Beat website. And then everyone has to guess a game on the list. And after 3 wrong guesses, the game will end. All right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So here we go. Okay. This is the top 10 games of 1992, created by Matt
God.
Cowbell.
Top
So
10
there's 10
games of
games.
1992
Is
specifically.
anybody gonna veto that?
Well, how about you guys? Are either of you gonna veto it?
Doesn't look like anybody's gonna veto, so I guess that's gonna be it.
I will veto. is why I'm
Oh,
asking.
okay. Well, smart of you to ask first, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorites, a heart emoji, created by Mad Dog. 14 games.
Great. It's gotten
we-
even worse.
Do we wanna
You
guess
two
the
still have
favorites of a
vetoes,
random
I'm just
person?
saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna veto that one, sorry. Yeah. Let's get to a good one here.
How we didn't do any vetoes on the other ones, basically. Now
Yeah.
as soon as I'm not the host.
Xeno series, created by R2D2 1999. 10 games.
Wow! I think that one might be a bit easy.
The
Okay.
Xeno series.
I think we can work with this.
This sucks.
I can work with it. Who gets to go first?
It would be me, according to the rules. Yeah, this sucks. I know this franchise, but I don't know the exact titles of these games.
I mean, you can guess at least one.
Xenogear. Yeah, let's just do Xenogear. Maybe there's the first one that's literally just that.
I think that counts.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that counts.
To
Okay.
be clear, it's Xenogears.
Years.
Oh
So there's
my
a S, but I think that counts.
That's
I don't
very
think we can punish you for
gracious.
not remembering the F.
Oh my, that's so fucking embarrassing.
You would think Gears would be the sequel, but
Oh
No,
my
it's the
God.
first one. I'm gonna go with Xenoblade Chronicles.
yes.
I'm gonna go with Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with
Dog.
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Well, it's
Wait,
my
isn't it
turn
Matt
though.
next?
So,
Damn it! I gave you this. I spoiled it for you.
I'm gonna say, what do you say? Xenoblade Chronicles X? Did I hear that right?
I don't know.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
frick,
Oops,
dog.
my bad. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
This is
Yeah.
awful.
I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel of my Xeno knowledge,
We already have half of them now.
right?
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X had some sort of remake recently.
Oh my
I don't know if
God.
that would count, right? So, and I think it was Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, maybe?
Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Wow, that's incredible, actually. Oh shit, it's me again. Oh my god, I don't.
Yeah.
Is there not a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or something? Let's do that.
I already said that.
Oh shit, 4. Let's do 4.
Not just
No.
hopes the number keeps going up.
All right, there we go. That's
Question.
the first
To
4.
say the 4 German titles.
I was about to
the
say,
one.
I remember one of them has like a long German title.
They all do. Do I have to say the whole
Oh.
German title, or can I just say the numbers?
Oh, I want to hear that German, dog.
It's gonna be so bad. Do you
Maybe
really
I
want to
can
hear me
understand
butcher an entire language?
Yeah, gladly.
Xenosaga 3, and I believe it's Alas Brock Zarathustra. Also Sprock Zarathustra, however the
Oh,
one,
yeah.
you know that.
So what? Say it again?
Xenosaga, it's episode 3, I just said Xenosaga 3 because I don't think we need to get that far in the lead. Also
Yeah.
Sprock Zarathustra, or however you would pronounce it.
That's actually pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go, I actually did something good.
Yeah. Shit.
All right.
Oh, it's back to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crap. Uh-oh.
And
Well,
Matt
I'm gonna-
demands German.
I'm gonna just start throwing out words and hoping they're titles. I feel like there's more Xenogears games, so I'm gonna say Xenogears Saga.
No. Or at least it's not on this list if it exists.
Yeah.
There's no Xenogears Saga.
We have
Well,
we have what 3 games left?
Yeah.
I don't.
And I feel confident in what they
Xenogear-
are if I can pronounce the names.
Xenogears Psychoblade. There you go. I'm sure that exists.
No.
Yeah.
Alright, I think I'll go with this one because I think it's the only one the other people might get. Xenoblade Chronicle 2 Torna the Golden Country.
there's
Huh?
no
Yeah,
thing.
that's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
It's the only other modern one, I'm pretty sure, so it's the only one you guys might have guessed.
Nah. 2 more games. This is whack.
Truly, it was the perfect one just for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, genuinely. Although the point distribution right now is actually not too bad. We all got something so far. Which is surprising
Yeah,
to me.
I think I'm gonna shoot up a little bit though.
Yeah.
Okay. Xeno Rampage 4 XX Chronicles Unloaded.
That's good.
That's
That's
a
good.
guilty year title.
I like it.
No.
What?
Shocking. Yeah.
Rigged.
Xenogears 20XX Age of the Doom Slayer. I don't know. There you go. And then,
So
can you clean this list up, Roy?
I'm pretty sure it's something like Xenosaga Episode 1 Durwell Zandrush or something like that. I can't get the German right, but it's Xenosaga Episode 1 Durwell
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's here. Der Villa Schermacht.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Der Wille der Macht? What?
Zermacht?
Is that-
Z-U-R Macht is the last one. Macht?
Macht.
And
Der
a
Wille
Send
zur
it
Macht.
to Matt afterwards,
Yeah, okay.
and he can pronounce it for us.
The will to
'Cause I'm
power
actually
or
serious.
something. Yeah, okay. I think that's
They're all like Nietzsche.
yeah, that checks out, yeah.
You could see. Here's the thing, Matt. You could just say Xenosaga Episode 2 and say a Nietzsche quote and hope it's the right one.
It's so easy, totally.
For my final guess, I'm gonna go with Xenophobia.
That would be a great one.
Jesus. Okay. Thankfully, that's not
I'm good that
there.
that's not on there.
Goodness. Well, yeah, it's only Roy now to clean up. There's one game left, I believe. Or did he already say it?
Xenosaga Episode 2 Jenswitz von something and something. I don't remember the full title. Jenswitz von Don and Boys? Dane and Don and Boys? Something like that? Don?
Yeah, I'll
Don?
give it to you.
I'm
I don't-
trying to
I don't
figure
know-
out what that is.
I remember vaguely because I remember Jenswitz. It's like Jesuits because the game has like the whole Christianity thing, which is why I even remember the title to begin with.
Try to say it again in German. I want to know if I can figure this out.
How about I look it up so I can
No.
more
From your
accurately
memory. If I can recognize it, I'll give it to you.
Xenosaga Episode 2 Jenswitz von Don and Boyce. Something like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Jenseits von Gut und Böse.
Boys.
Yeah, I'll take that, yeah.
All right, good
Jenseits von
enough.
Gut und Böse. That's
All right, I
crazy.
cleaned it up. I couldn't pronounce it. I only remembered like one word and kind of just blindly guessed. But
Yeah, but hey, a German dude recognized it. It
yeah,
worked.
that's good enough.
Yeah. That's fucking
That's
awesome,
better than
actually.
probably 90% of the other stuff.
Oh, that's dope.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I think you deserve all those points.
thank you.
And
This
the
is the
whole
advantage of
list,
having that
please.
one friend who's really big into the Xeno series.
Right, that one friend. Yeah.
There's more here, but I don't think they're counting as games.
What do you mean?
Isn't
There's
there
like
like Xenosaga Freaks?
Freaks.
There's like 13 games here, but I don't think they're counting because I think they might be like DLC or something.
Oh yeah.
Because
That
it
would
says
make
10 games, and I'm like, but I'm counting them, and there's more than 10. So
There
if you wanna
are
keep
games
going.
that got DLC. I'm not gonna get the DLC.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you
Forget
that
the
right now.
DLC.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2, was ist dein Lieblingsfach?
Let's fucking go. Beautiful.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
So what's the final scores then?
Yeah.
Roy wins.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, because I get a point for every correct guess.
And you get free bonus for winning.
From my count, you have 6.
All
Yeah.
right,
Plus the free bonus points.
Mm-hmm.
so 9.
Jesus
And what's everyone else
Christ.
doing?
And everyone else gets 2 points. But
All right, there we go. Well, I got really lucky on that one, which also means that I'm once again hosting it next time.
Yeah, that's what you deserve.
So that gives you all a good chance to catch up after this.
I need it.
This score distribution genuinely is jenseits von Gut und Böse. That's all I'm gonna say.
So true, okay? That's the episode. We'll be back, 2 weeks as usual. In fact, most likely by the time you see this episode, I will be a year older than I recorded, for my birthday is coming up
Ooh.
soon. Not sure how relevant that is to anything, but it is there.
We've got a lot of birthdays
Level up
clustered around
day.
this time of year with this host group.
Yeah. Apparently. And that was our games of the year. Feel free to tell us your games of the year, even if they didn't actually release this year and you just played them this year, because that's what half of us did. And if you have anything that you're hoping to play next year, feel free to tell us too. But try to play them more than we do, because bye, ciao, later, whatever.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yes.